Spicy salsa.
Jalapeno.
Woo! On the dick.
No. Ryan. Oh my God.
He don't.
I laid in bed one night laughing so hard.
That's the
My
laugh.
husband's like, what's going on in there?
Sorry, you're like to start trying.
Oh. Hearing? Hearing,
Hearing aid?
one word, wax.
Deaf. Earwax. Earwax.
Is that it?
Yes.
Good. All right, Cindy.
Oh my God.
He's back up again.
Swimming.
Laps.
Triathlon.
Oh,
Jump off the dive.
Jumping or-
No.
Olympics.
Olympics, swimming.
Summer Olympics. Belly flop. Is it a type of dive? Cannonball.
I think you
y'all
played
got
this, it
how to play
shows.
this.
She says communicating with me is like doing this all the time.
What are you saying?
It's like-
I gotta guess.
I can't believe that. You're everything that she said you are.
Yeah, 'cause I'm doing lip sync.
All right, Dawn.
Let's see.
And
Tightrope walking.
Balance beam.
That was actually good.
Oh, good. Fire over here too.
Don, we were really hoping you were gonna stand up and do it on the.
That was next.
Sorry, too soon.
All right, Angela. What you got?
She's loving every minute of this.
Scratch my face.
I hate this, no. Not really sure how to do this, so. You wanna come do it for me?
Oh, no, you can do it.
Give it your best shot.
Give it a nice shot.
Just try.
Underwear.
I take the card back, yeah.
Good guesses. Ten.
10.
Decide.
Give up.
Sorry.
Go
SWAT.
away.
SWAT.
Fly.
Fly.
Mosquito.
S.
Bug.
Bee.
And,
feasting.
like,
Bees flying around.
Beehive.
Beehive.
Swarm.
Swarm of.
Hive.
So,
Swarming.
beekeeper.
You're doing good. We're guessing. Are we on the right track?
Be quiet.
Behave.
Believe.
Oh, I never intended for that. Intended for this one.
Get on.
This is the easy one. That was pollination. That's almost
Oh, that's
impossible.
hard. Yeah.
This is the only way I would have done pollination.
You can't.
I don't have my finger around.
Flowers.
You have flowers on your shirt. You can just like.
You gotta burn them yourself.
do something with your man.
Jamie, your turn.
Dimples. Thinking.
Wait a minute.
Studying. Facebook? Yes.
Oh, actually, good guess. Very good guess. What you got, Cass? Swimming.
Lap swimming.
Boo.
Lap swimming. Boo.
Cheering.
Cheering.
Track meet, swim meet.
Swim meet.
Uh,
Go, go, go.
Cheering, mark and set, go.
the fire, the shot for them to go, hear that?
Cheering crowd.
What's that called when they,
I know,
when they fire the gun to go, that one? No.
Cheering the Olympic swimming.
Ready.
Swimming underwater,
Yeah.
swimming underwater?
Scuba.
Scuba mask.
Get out of the water, there's a shark.
Earplugs. No.
Snorkeling. Snorkeling.
Rescuing.
Yelling.
Breaststroke. Breaststroke. Breaststroke.
Lifeguard.
Getting closer.
Help.
CPR.
Help.
Drowning.
Rescue.
Drowning.
Drowning, rescue.
Coast Guard.
Help.
Danger.
Lifesaver.
We're not getting. Lifesaver?
I can't hear you.
All right, go ahead and tell them what it is.
Lifeguard.
Marco Polo.
Oh.
That's a hard one.
That is a very hard one.
You did good, Kat.
need a ball to do that one.
Yeah. I would have passed on that.
Okay, we're ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
Driving.
bumper car.
Driving.
There you go.
The bumper car?
Like these cars.
No, I like bumper cars.
That's really good.
Yeah, that was a good guess.
Might not be able to see, but let's stand over here. That's.
Oh,
Fire.
catcher.
Baseball
Catcher
catcher or umpire.
Catcher in the right.
Whoa. That was really good.
Very
That's good.
very good.
One of the ways I pay my.
We done?
College.
So if you passed, you all have cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pass them
Just pass
around.
them around to Steve.
Take one down, pass it around.
No.
Take them, here we go.
You just couldn't help yourself.
Good numbers up.
Did you?
Good numbers up.
Up here. All right. So how many of you have your homework sheets? If you want to get them ready, this little thingy. With the 4 different squares and the love, work, play, health. Cause we're gonna go over
Is that
that.
one or two?
Gosh, I'm getting lazy. I have a case of vertigo, so if I act a little strange, that's why.
I got that every day. Believe me. I thought about up the steps this morning.
Sorry about that.
I had that for like 3 years straight, that burger go thing. It's no fun.
So you all, so before we get started, because my devotion is kind of worked into what I'm going to be doing today, it's gonna look different. So I'm gonna start with prayer, because I don't know about you, but I need it. All right. So Father, I just thank you. I thank you for laughter. I thank you for each and every student that came into this room on time. I lift up Tammy, right now, Lord, that you know exactly what's going on in her life and that you would be with her and that she would know that. That she would return on Wednesday. So Lord, I just pray for today. I pray that we would be able to receive not only from whoever is speaking, God, but we would hear from you. So whatever is going on in each of our lives, Lord, that we would bring that and empty it and just leave it and be filled by new things, to be filled with change, to be filled with new thoughts, your thoughts. And God, when we accept that you know so much more than we do, that's a good place to be. So Lord, we just want to receive today and that our hearts and minds would be open to that. And it's in your name, Jesus, that I pray. Amen. Amen. So, with this little, what did you think of this, first of all?
Well, I talked to my husband about it. And he said that some of my goals that I was making, I don't have to name it. Cause I said, I won't, because I was thinking like for love, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be using my cell phone so much, like when we're hanging out. And he said, no, you don't have to do that, but I so then I never filled it in, but then I went back and I filled it in. Because I was still working on it secretly, but even though he told me I didn't have to, because he doesn't really care. Because whenever we watch a movie, I always go on my phone to see if it's true.
But remember, this is for you,
Yeah.
right? This is something that you're working on yourself and no one else can really answer for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna start with the love box. Wow.
You said it, not me.
So, what kind of change would you like to see there is the box. What kind of change would you like to see happen in your life in these areas, in the love category? All right, and these are our deepest, most meaningful relationships, right? Probably husband and wife, children, partners, parents, close friends, etc. So for me, for an example, in that box, for example, I put my value just to be kind. That's a good start, right? And so I wrote the word kind down. Short-term goals, what did that look like? Just small acts of kindness. Maybe pouring Stephen a cup, making his coffee. So in the morning, he doesn't have to bother you, just, whatever, just small acts of kindness. Medium-term goals, that would look like in 30, 60 days out, just getting in the habit of being kind. And it's in your mind, right? And you're constantly thinking, how can I be kind to the people in my life? Long-term goals would look like, it would be a regular part of my life. It would become my character. Tracy's kind. She's just a kind person. Why? Because I'm constantly looking for ways to be kind. It's becoming part of who I am. It's my routine. And then this is who I become. And then we can also be the opposite, can't we? We can be hateful. And when the more we're hateful and the more this is who we become. So it's a choice that we make. So I choose love. I choose to be kind. Make sense? So what else I wanted to talk to you about, which if we're going to love the people in our life, we need to understand love. And so how many of you have ever heard of the book, The 5 Love Languages? Wow, I'm surprised. That's good. So what it is, it's a book written in 1992, I believe, by a marriage counselor. His name was Dr. Harry Chapman. And if you would you please? So the thing about the love language, there's 5 different types of love languages. Yes. So the first one is words of affirmation. And that's where you express love through verbal compliments and encouragement. That's my love language. That's how I feel loved. I think part of that is because when I was growing up as a kid, I was never praised. I was never told that good job. I was never encouraged. I was never even asked, how was your day? So I found out later in life that I craved praise. I craved someone to say good job. I craved that because I didn't receive it. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that's how I feel loved, because I didn't get it. And maybe you feel that, maybe that's your love language, but you need to understand what your love language is. The second one is quality time. That's focused time with people that we love together. That's another one of my love languages, because I didn't get that either. No one paid any attention to me. No one gave me one-on-one time. And so that's why when I'm with Stephen and he's not focused on me and he's looking at something else, I don't feel loved because he's not looking at me. So that's quality time, not just time, quality time. Think about when you're first dating, how you're all goo-goo-eyed and you're holding hands and you're paying attention to the person you love. That's quality time. So that's a love language. Then we have physical touch. That's expressing love through physical affection, holding hands, hugs, kisses. That's Stephen's love language. That's how he feels loved. Then you have acts of service. That's showing love by doing thoughtful things to make someone's life easier. That's also, we can be a mixture. That's also my love language. If someone, for instance, I had a friend one time, it was my birthday, And she put, we have a mailbox, we live in the country, so we have a mailbox on the road. And she brought in these flowers, and she planted them for me at the mailbox, and she put birthday balloons. I felt so loved. Not because of the flowers, it's because she knew what I liked. It was an act of service to show her love for me, and I just feel so loved. So that's an example of acts of service. And then you have gifts. We all know what that is. That's not my love language at all. You can give me a gift and it's nice, but I just don't really feel loved by that. Some people do. But if you gave me a gift and it was a card, a handwritten card where you shared your feelings with me, now that's different. It changes that gift into words of affirmation. And boy, that's like, whoa, I just feel so special. So do you understand the 4 different types of love languages? And do you have any questions before we go on? No? So do you know your love language?
Yeah.
What's yours, Jamie?
I'm a mix of acts of service and gifts,
Okay,
only because that's what I lacked growing up, so,
there's a pattern there, right?
yeah.
Anyone else?
I think, the quality time is the big one and acts of service.
Yeah, and that's how you feel loved.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share what they think their love language is?
Mine is definitely quality time and acts of service.
I always tell Tina that she's the one, I always talk to her about this and tell her she's the gift person.
Right. So now we're gonna switch it. It's important for us to know our own love language, correct? But we need to know theirs too. Because I can praise him all day long. I can give him gifts. I can give him the ways, because we tend to love the way we feel loved. So that's what I would do to Stephen. He ain't feel loved until I'm snuggling. He ain't feel loved until I want to hold hands with him or whatever. He's not gonna feel it. So it's so important, not only for us to understand how we feel loved, but to know how the people we love feel loved so that we can love them in that way. Does that make sense? Do you find yourself loving people the way you feel loved and then they're just not getting it? And you don't understand it. It's this frustrating thing, but it's and I'm like, oh. Just because I feel love this way doesn't mean he's gonna feel love this way. So understanding the people in our lives, love language is huge in making our relationships good. Does that make sense? Can anyone tell me what a love language is of somebody you love, you know?
I think my husband and I have the same ones. We always like make each other coffee or tea
Acts of service.
when we're gonna be coming home from, and we've been out and we know that we're gonna come home and that there's gonna be tea ready for us, like something really small like that. And then just we have that, like we wake up early every morning just to have time together, like a couple hours early.
So
Like
that's-
5 in the morning.
So that's quality
We
time.
always have, yeah, we always do that and.
So that's easy then. But what about someone that, like Stephen and I have different love languages? Right? Do you know of your spouse or whoever, family member, a child? Do you know their love language and are you loving them the way they feel loved? It's a good question, isn't it?
Tina's a gift person, because she didn't get a lot of gifts when she was young. So she's always giving me gifts and I feel guilty taking gifts all the time from her,
But it's not your love language.
but it's not. And it kind of makes me feel guilty, which I keep having this conversation with her.
This might be a good conversation with Tina with this, you think?
Yeah, I think that I told her she should have been here because I could tell it was what this one was about. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
see it on the agenda.
Yeah. So,
So, yeah, she overcompensates with everybody to give people, give, but she craved it always, so.
right.
And so I always try to make a point of remembering to try to get her something. I have to kind of make it a thing for me because I'm really not into that, because I feel like people can just give you things and you feel empty when you don't get the time or
Right.
the listen to or the you know, affirmations and stuff, but it kind of can feel empty to me, but
That's a good,
I have to try to force myself when I go somewhere to make sure I get something for her, cause I'm really cheap too.
well, you could even make her something, a gift is a gift.
Yeah.
So that's a good point, and you actually explained that really well. You feel empty.
Mhm.
And that's not what we want to feel, right? So anyone have any thoughts or anything you'd like to share about that, or anything you might have learned that you didn't know? Anybody?
Yeah, the 9-year-old in my house is all about gifts. The only time she wants to spend time with you, if you're gonna take her to shoe show or to get shoes somewhere. And I have to curb that.
Mhm.
And then Cheryl, she's throws money at everybody's problems. And she thinks that's how to solve everything. And I've spent the last year trying to teach her that that is not solving any of their problems. And Joey is all about, he's touchy-feely.
But what about you, Linda?
Me, oh, I'm pretty easy. I'm
How do
pretty
you feel?
much affirmation and pretty much acts of service. Do you take the garbage out for me? I'm very appreciative.
So
you
that's,
know?
that's good.
Yeah,
So that's why gifts are not important to you. That's why you feel that way. And that's okay. But some people, gifts are important to them. And it doesn't have to be expensive things, right? Like something handmade. I mean, come on, when we were kids, the ashtrays and the coffee cups, we used to bring our parents in school and, you know what I mean?
it's like with Jackie, I've been, she had a stroke, okay, about two and a half, 3 months ago. And I've been watching her lug the laundry basket around the house. And it drives me crazy because she can't hardly lift with one hand. So I took my money and I went and bought her one that has wheels and you know, telescoping handle, like a suitcase that she can drag around. And I got it for her. At first, she wouldn't use it. And then she finally broke down the other day and she goes, I didn't want to admit that I couldn't do the other, but this is really much easier. So finally, you know, she was willing to give up the. And
Yours is
pride.
kind of a combo.
Pride.
It wasn't just a gift, it was kind of an acts of service as well.
Yeah, to make
right?
it easier on them.
Well,
To make
yeah,
her life easier. So that's a really good example of a combo. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share or anything that
No.
you've learned?
I'm still trying to figure out which one I am.
But that's huge for you to do that. That,
Why I like what? I don't know.
yeah, but read about it. You can look it up, the different love languages, and it will give you all these examples, and you should be able to identify yourself, really.
You actually took it, we took a test.
We took a test online. It's free.
I wanna.
Google it, look for the love language test, and it asks you all these questions, and, it pretty much.
Oh,
It's
really?
easy, yeah, very easy.
Well, I wanna read the book too, my granddaughter's counselor suggested
Yes, it's a very
several
good book.
books,
Yeah.
but that should be like the first one, because
How can we love each other well if we don't even know our own love language?
that's,
Self-love, and we don't know how to love the people in our life. That causes this, right? No matter how hard they try, is to not feel it. And the frustration and the fights and the misunderstandings, all because we don't understand how our partner, our children, whomever, how they feel loved. Make sense?
mhm.
This is huge. So I just think for you to get out there, figure it out, not only your own, but the people in your life's love language. Love is everything. Okay? And so how about the other categories? Anything? Anybody write anything?
I wrote, my values is contact. And short-term goals is to call and connect because.
This is under work.
Under love and. on the-
I'm sorry, we're
Oh.
moving on to the.
Oh,
other
well,
categories.
excuse me, then over there I put volunteering.
For work, you put volunteering,
Yeah,
okay?
because I drive people to their cancer appointments and I have a man I take to his dialysis because his wife passed away and he passed out in the cargo parking lot right next to me. I told him,
Wow.
you can't drive yourself anymore. I'll do it.
And that's an act of service as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
but, and then, let's see, short-term goals, I wrote, do things that give me a feeling of accomplishment.
Okay,
And I didn't get past there. I didn't get to medium or long term.
well, this is good though, you're there. And as you do this, keep this and say, what is that gonna look like? You know, 60, 90 days out, and when does this become a part of my lifestyle? Make sense?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Anyone else about any category, play or health?
I did, eating for me,
Under your health?
And under health, I gotta, learn how to cook and stuff, and I made a little kind of monthly
Wow,
calendar thing with food on it.
that's awesome, Cindy.
Actually, but I haven't went to the store to buy food yet.
But that's wonderful. So you really put some effort into that because your health is important. And so you know, eating well is gonna make that go, you know, good.
And then I had another job opportunity. I used to work at the post office down here cleaning.
Uh-huh.
And, I saw a guy that is a carrier at the dumpster the other day, and he's like, they got approved to get another contractor. So I stopped in there, and, the lady got my information, and, I'm to follow up with her in about 2 weeks for
Wonderful.
that, so
So that was something you did under the work.
under work.
Great job, Cindy.
And then we moved on from love, but for me, it's to call my dad once a week.
Because you feel you don't talk to him enough or?
I've always wanted a relationship with him, but, I see I'm gonna have to make the effort.
You know, you convicted me with that in my own life because I struggle with my father. And it's a give and take, you know. If he doesn't call me, I don't call him type of thing. And when you said, I made a decision that I'm gonna call him once a week, that's probably something I need to do. So thank you for that.
Well, honestly, I think the Lord laid it on my heart. A lot of this is the Holy Spirit. I mean, I can't fill in things unless He reveals it to me.
Right.
There aren't any of us
Honestly, I
getting
wouldn't
any
say-
younger.
Um,
None of us
Right.
are getting any younger.
Right.
And honestly, love, I mean, God is love, and we can't really, He's the one that's really gonna have to show us how to love. And for this, but love language, I notice as I get older, it actually changes. That as you mature, you're not always gonna be the same. I feel like a good balance is to be a little bit of all five of them. At some point.
Right, but we're all made unique and we feel love differently. Make sense? People can buy me gifts all day long and I'm just not gonna feel loved.
Can't buy love.
You can't buy love, true. But some people
Somebody told me that.
feel that way. And you're right, love does come from God. But these are ways that we can actually show love and receive love. And God's agape love is not, there's no comparison to His unconditional love, right?
And maybe we shouldn't have to always feel it. Maybe your thinking should be like, just receive. The gift is as kindness or like it's like you limit. If you're just gonna say, well, I'm not gonna, it's like I don't feel love because they're not giving me what I want. You're limiting.
Well, the way that can be filled and what I had to do, growing up in a household where you were never told you were loved,
Right.
never given any type of encouragement. I had to have that, I had that gap. And so what women tend to do is they look for love when they don't receive it at home from the wrong
Right.
places,
Right.
right? And then from there, we get ourselves in a real mess. And so what I needed to learn was I needed that gap is God had to fill that.
Right.
But what I'm talking about is in human relationships, right? And not everyone is gonna understand God's agape love.
Right.
Not everyone even grasps that yet. They're not there. So this is more about us human love with each other. And if I hadn't allowed God to fill that gap, and fill my heart with his love, I don't think I would be here today. Make sense?
Right.
So much truth to that. And probably Angela, you feel the same way? How do you feel about that?
It's a big thing for me. I gotta have the Lord to be able to function. Like that is a big thing. And it's so like, now it's like I've before, like, searched for love my whole life. I've had like really bad childhood, really bad upbringing. And so kind of like Tina with the gifts, you know, what you lack, you know, during your childhood is what you want, I guess, you know, as an adult, especially as a female, you know, and so we're all looking for love
Right.
in all the wrong places.
In all the wrong places.
And so, yeah,
That's the
that's a
story,
big one
yeah.
for me.
But God, thank God, God rescues us. And
Or
he
you're
even puts
afraid of
people in our path, right?
Or you could get afraid of it because of what happened to you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's like it's hard for you to receive love, even though people are giving it to you in all those ways.
So much
So-
truth to that.
Okay, this is what I did one time. When I was very sad and I was going through something in my life, I had to get myself out of it. And my mom, she brought me like a big thing of popcorn in this giant can, and I wasn't going to the dorms or leaving my dorm. I wasn't going and eating, I wasn't doing anything. So I was just living on that popcorn for a while. And then finally, I had the last piece rattling around and I was like, that's how I feel.
Empty.
In this big emptiness. And so then I'm like, what am I gonna do with this can? Because it's really pretty. And I don't wanna just throw it away. And it's empty like me. And so then whenever I went around, somebody said a joke to me, so I wrote it down and I put it in there because it was something that at least somebody was trying to brighten my day. So it's like, if you're not really receptive to love, sometimes you have to acknowledge it to get the ball rolling, to open yourself up to it, is you need to find it. And you need to hold on to what is out there. You need to actively pursue it instead of, in order to get yourself trained to accept it.
And some of it is, we do have to be open to receive, but some of it is a self-protect. Because people that we trusted, people in our lives that we loved and were supposed to love us, violated that love. And so therefore they hurt us. So that's where that comes to, is some women I know, have a hard time receiving love because they need to heal in those places. Does that make sense? Yeah, so everybody's different. And so this is why we need to understand our love language and how we need to be loved and how we can also give love. But this is huge for you, and I can see this is really something you needed to hear today, maybe.
I also think when you said the people who've been like maybe hurt or taken advantage of by somebody that was maybe close to them that they can't. So I think this is just my observation from, because I like to talk about this with people, but I feel like people who've had somebody like maybe to physically violate them, they would rather receive gifts than touch.
So that's why my love language is not physical, because I was violated by someone I trusted.
That's my observation.
So I don't like touchy-feely. So because I love Stephen, I have to learn to be touchy-feely, which is really hard for me, really hard for me.
But at the same time, it comes down to that place where you have to understand what triggers there still are.
Because I have triggers.
Even after all these years, even after 30 years of marriage, there are still triggers, there's still things that I have to be aware of. And if this happens, then this will trigger her. So it can be I'm a touchy feeler. I just go up and hug her all the time and she's
And I'm
like,
like, that's enough.
that's enough, that's enough. And then
You
it'll come back
can't
around.
tell her you're having an affair.
Yeah. Clearly, that's off the table. But still, I mean, I still have to understand, I have to understand that this is not her gift. Okay, not how she feels loved, but I need that.
But you understand the why now.
Yeah.
I don't feel loved by that. Actually, there was a time I didn't even like that. I didn't want to be touched. I'm the biggest huggy person. I love to hug everyone. There was a time I did not like hugs. I would not hug. So there is healing from our past, right? But it's still, like Stephen said, there still can be triggers that we need to work through. And I know that I can trust my husband, and I can only work on me. It has nothing to do with him, but because he loves me, he's willing to be patient with me. Make sense?
So,
Love is patient.
Love is patient, love is kind.
sometimes patient.
Sometimes, yes.
I don't think
Teamwork
triggers
has-
ever go away.
No, they don't. It's
Because
what
it's like-
you do with them though.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like 17 years, you know. I was in counseling and
Yeah,
I still have triggers.
I understand.
I mean, so it's not, I don't think it's something that ever goes away. I think that the people, you know, that truly love us is something that they have to just be aware of.
Right, we all struggle, we all have baggage. And we all have to work through it. And like I said, we have to heal, and the only way we can heal is we do have to deal with it, which a lot of people don't want to do that. So it was, like you said, you had all those years of counseling, so you were moving towards it, dealing with it, so that you could even be in a place where you are today.
Right.
So, yes. Anything else anybody wants to share?
Timu has these hats that are like made of felt or not really felt, I don't know. They're really lightweight and they're pretty and whatnot, and they're only about $2.50. And I started buying them for the cancer patients because, you know, they need something. Most of them don't even realize they're gonna need something and they don't wanna think about it.
Right.
But I don't like when people, you know, are like overly, thank you type thing. So I don't even want them to know that I give them to them, so I hide them in their purse and stuff. Or I hide them at the cancer center so people can find them and pick them up. And I got caught the other day by one of the doctors. And he told me, he said, why don't you want anybody to know that you've been doing this? I'm like, because if you tell anybody, I'm gonna quit.
So 2 questions for you. One was, you said that I love that you want to, it's great that they just can find it
Yeah,
and be blessed by that. And
Yeah.
that's something that God loves. But why do you not like them to say thank you? Why is that?
I
To
don't,
show appreciation.
I had, you have to understand, my grandmother was one of 16 kids. And there was 15 girls and 1 boy. And all them women were always, they expected you to be like, thank you. I mean, and you're supposed to be like, you know, all over them, thanking them over and they wouldn't let up on it. I mean, a week later after they gave you something, they're still wanting you to thank them
So you
again
had
and
to,
again.
so that there's why.
Yeah.
And it's
So
just,
that makes sense, but allowing people to say if thank you blesses them, they want you to, that's goodness, the kindness of their
well,
heart.
I've learned at Christmas just to say thank you.
And that's
And they'll
great.
leave it alone, that's fine.
Right.
I can do that.
But
But
what you
if-
said makes sense now, but if you could look with a new perspective, not as a child,
Yeah,
because that's a trigger
it is. It
right
really-
there.
It's my friend Cheryl, when she'll go shopping or something, she'll buy like 10 things and I'm like, really?
But think about this with new eyes now. Just think about that.
Yeah.
That's your homework.
For me, the reason that I, like the, quality time is like, I never felt included as a kid. So it's like,
There you go.
something I always wanted.
All this makes sense now. So is this helping you when you hear other people? Oh, I like this because most of the time it's what we didn't receive as a child. And we're to be nurtured and cared for as children. And when we don't receive that, it affects us lifelong. It's huge, but it's never too late, right? That we can, God wants to give us that love and everything that we need, and he does put people in our lives to do that. But a lot of times we don't want to accept it or see it. Makes sense? We have to learn to receive too, but that's a whole nother lesson. But I want to move on now to, we're gonna talk some today about giving away our power. Okay? And for me, that typically happens. I give away my power when somebody blindsides me or says something hurtful or just a response that I don't expect. And then, you know, the SNR thing, when I get blindsided with hurtful people, I can feel it on the inside. I just want right back, right?
Like that.
Yes, I wanna hurt them. And
Especially
this
if their
is me
feelings
being
are hurt.
honest, this is Sharonda, bless you, Tracy. I grew up in the hood, girl, so.
Do so.
They're hurting me, I wanna hurt them back. Like, that's not who God is, and God's got a hold of my heart, so there's this wrestling going on inside of me, right? This, they deserve what they just did to me, and God says, Tracy, I'm gonna use you. I wanna use you, and
Don't
there's
always
this
work.
power struggle, not just with what I'm getting ready. If I react just like them, I'm giving away my power. I'm giving away my power to be used by God to make this relationship a good one. Does that make sense? So I want to talk to you about a huge lesson I learned. I grew up, like I said, in a family where I walked on eggshells all the time. There was yelling and screaming and fighting, and I never knew when it was going to be safe. And I would hide out in my bedroom and just for to be safe, really. So my daughter, Stephen and I were married. We've been together over 30 years, but I got married very young, basically to get out of the house, I think. And I had children very young. And so my first husband was a Marine, and we divorced when I moved to the Lynchburg area. And my daughter at the time, she was the oldest, I had 2 children. She took it really hard because her father was, you know, doing his thing and doing some lying and things we don't need to get into. But she basically blamed me for the divorce and she hated me. She was just so angry. And so I kind of walked on eggshells with her for I don't know how many years, because I never knew when she was going to blow up. I never knew when she was going to attack me. And this went on through, she lived with Stephen and I. She went to Virginia Tech. She's a great girl, but she was damaged. Okay. And we had to work through that. But I basically felt like every time she was around, I had to earn her forgiveness over and over and over again. And I never knew when she was going to lose it, or if I would do something and she would blow up again. So one time, she was married and she came to our house. They lived in Maryland. Now looking back, she married a narcissist and I didn't know it. Okay, this is a long time ago. So what he was doing behind the scenes is he knew all her hurts and he was feeding her. Your mom doesn't love you. She left you. She doesn't care about you. And she was believing these lies and I didn't know what he was saying to her. So now, me looking back, it made sense why she would just blow up and go off. But then I was just like, what is going on? So this one time we had a birthday party for her. I invited 2 of my friends. And she went off because I invited 2 of my friends. She came in the door. I was standing in the kitchen and she was hysterically yelling and screaming out of control for me. I was standing there. The tears were just going down my cheeks. This is my daughter that I love with all my heart. And I can't believe, and here's what I'm thinking in my head. Can she not see how she's hurting me? Can she not see the tears that are running down my face that this hurts and I don't understand? And so I did what I thought was the Jesus thing and I walked away. Oh, that set her off. She got in the car and drove all the way back to Maryland. I gave the gift I gave her, the money in a car. She slid it under the door. That's how she responded to that. And I was like, that was my lifestyle with her. So now she has kids. I go up to Maryland to see her and to help with the kiddos, which I adore. These kids are 14 now. They adore me and Stephen, and we adore them. And my relationship with my daughter is good now. She divorced the narcissist. Right? Yes. But anyways, so let me tell you how I handled this differently, that I didn't give away my power. Because when my daughter saw me walking away, she thought I didn't care. She thought I didn't want to hear what she had to say. I didn't realize that at the time. I just didn't want to run my mouth. Make sense? So this time we're standing in her kitchen and something set her off and she starts going off again. And I'm like shooting up SOS prayers this time to God. And I said, God, help me. And I finally said, Desiree, I love you. I want to hear what you have to say. But this right here is hurtful. This anger that you're yelling and screaming hurts our relationship. And then I told her what I was going to do. I just didn't walk away. So until you can calm down or whatever, I'm going to go upstairs she had a bedroom for me. And when you're ready to talk to me in a calm manner, that's where I'll be. I realized when I got up there, I was scared to death. She can get me. So I went up into my can't you, babe? So I went up in the bedroom and I'm like, wow, I forgot my phone needed charging. And I left it downstairs. And I was afraid, if I'm honest, I was afraid to walk back downstairs to get that phone because I didn't know what she was gonna do. And I went downstairs, went to get my phone. And for the first time in my life, my daughter said, Mom, I'm so sorry. And she told me she loved me. And I cried. And we ended up having a conversation 2 hours long that was incredible. And she's never once done that to me again, ever. I decided I wasn't going to give my power away. And I was allowed God's power. So instead of, focusing on my strength and whatever, I instead focused on God's power and utilized that. Does that make sense to you? This is what we need to learn to do. So I want to get back to other things that take away our power. And so what do you think some of those things are? One of them, a big one, is unforgiveness. When we don't forgive. We think that I'm gonna make them pet. I'm not forget, but who are we hurting?
They don't think about it.
They're not losing any sleep. They're not thinking about us one bit. Unforgiveness keeps us prisoner for life. And we have the key. And all we have to do is unlock it and walk free. Now, unforgiveness doesn't mean that what they did was right or okay. Forgiveness doesn't mean that we have to even have a relationship with them anymore. Forgiveness is for us, for our hearts. What do you think about that, Angie?
Well, I was just waiting for you to finish talking. I was gonna say, me and my husband, we go to marriage conferences all the time. And the last marriage conference that we went to was Stephen and Debbie. Another Stephen. And he
It could have been me and little Debbie.
was saying,
How'd you go there?
See what I
I
have to
feel
put
so
up.
sorry. But he was saying how he held on to unforgiveness, something that happened way back in high school. Like for years and years and years, like if he saw this person, he'd go the other direction. I mean, like unforgiveness almost like turned into hatred.
Yes.
So-
Revenge,
Yeah.
all of those things.
And then he went to a high school reunion where he was forced to face to face with this person. And, so his wife was with him at that time and she's trying to get him, to get over this unforgiveness for this person. And when they are addressing the person doesn't even remember what happened. So all you're doing is pulling yourself down. You know, and if we wanna be forgiven, we gotta be forgiven, so.
Yes. It is.
That was just I just thought I'd share that part because that's just absolutely
Yeah.
true.
It is true, and it does. We give away our power. We're not hurting anyone but ourselves when we won't forgive. It's for us, okay? Another thing that we give away our power is trying to control other people. How good are y'all doing with that? Working for you? I can't control them like,
You've been
you
driving
can
30
see he's
years.
uncontrollable.
He's trying to control me.
There's that.
That's
You know,
awful.
one of the things that I'm most grateful for is that I forgive right away. And it's a good thing because I can't remember 2 hours or the next day what the hell the problem was. And they're still holding a grudge. And I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? No, you need to get over it. We're up, get there.
Maybe that's God's plan, why he gives the people Alzheimer's.
I mean, I look at them clueless, like, I have no idea what your problem is. I really don't.
But the point is made that again, people are not gonna remember this thing we're holding so tightly to. They've moved on in life. And so we just need to let go of that. But controlling others, another one is people pleasing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little guilty of that one.
I am too.
It really, really steals takes your power away. Exhausts you. It's exhausting, isn't it? And you're never, let's face it, we're never gonna be able to make everybody happy. And God's never intended us to.
And then you end up feeling rejected because you tried so hard and then you still can't make them happy.
Right.
You're always the bad guy.
You're
And that's it.
setting yourself up for failure.
And bottom line with people pleasing, it's all about because we care about what people think of us. Right? And if we are too worried about what God thinks of us first, then everything else falls into place. Because if we worry about what God thinks, we're gonna be living our life in a way that's good. Not perfect, but it's good, right? So another one, this was mine, a big one of mine, the need for approval. And that goes right along with affirmation. Am I doing a good job? Hey, does anybody notice me? When you're not given what you're needed, you seek approval from others. Anybody else struggle with that?
I know.
You do, Duncan?
Yeah,
Would you like to share it all?
well, just, through the years of, feeling like, there's more to me than others know. And then you don't get any of that back, appreciation.
Right.
It wears on you.
Yeah, yeah.
You kind of strike me like you might be like somebody else's cheering committee, but you're kind of like, maybe you kind of are so reserved that maybe you're kind of more on the sidelines and then that they don't ever think maybe to thank you or acknowledge you for what you offer to them.
Yeah,
Good point.
very true.
Anyone else?
It seemed to take my reserve as being aloof at times, which is a shame.
You seem like you're the quiet one. That everyone, my grandson's like that. But they're very intelligent, but when they have something to say, everybody listens.
Used to be.
Used to be,
Used to listen.
yeah.
But, I tend to be, in crowds and very invisible. So,
Yeah,
Unseen, unheard.
unseen.
but you're taking everything in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my grandson. He's hearing everything and he has just amazed me by that when he does speak up. So don't change who you are, Don, but I get the need of approval that people, hey, I am valuable. I do have something worthwhile to
Yeah.
offer, et cetera, right?
Yeah, well, my Asperger's is why I'm very observant.
I think my son, my
Everything
grandson
at the
too
same
has,
time.
yes, I understand. Very intelligent, yes. What about complaining? How does that steal your power? Certainly doesn't put you in a positive mood, does it?
If I can't change it and I don't see that it's gonna make any difference, I don't bother to even open my mouth.
Sometimes when you open your mouth, it don't matter anyway.
But when you complain about something, what does it actually do?
Makes you look bad.
Well, is there a difference between a complaint and making a suggestion? Like a suggestion, putting a suggestion in a suggestion bowl,
Well, complaining,
or complaining?
that's a
That would
suggestion.
be a healthier
But
thing.
let's talk about real life though, not like, okay, at work, I'm gonna suggest we do X, Y, and Z. It might make us work better, but like in real life,
We don't do that.
yeah. So, for instance, I had a family that was normal for them. And I hated it. They would sit around the table and actually complain about their jobs. Every night. And that's what I listened to. What do you think that did? Did it? Ah,
It's depressing.
it is.
It's draining,
Well, what
yeah.
about when you go visit someone? We have people like this in our life, all they do is sit and tell you all their problems and complain about everything, and they don't say anything positive. They don't even ask you how you're doing.
Negative Nancy's.
Negative Nancy.
Yeah, sometimes you have a whole family of that.
Yes.
After a while, it's like, you just feel like they're just pulling the life right out of you.
I say they're life suckers.
They are.
I have
So-
a friend who calls on the phone and that's all she does.
I think it's actually, in the Bible. So I used to be, like, because I came from a family of negativity,
Yes.
as you know. And for me, that was the hardest thing, to overcome, because I think like after you've been in it so long, it's just something you pick up.
Yeah, it's
It's
normal.
normal.
And so but what got me away from that is, I read some scripture in the Bible about murmuring
And complaining.
and complaining, and I
God says not to do it.
right. And so that's what kind of got me away from it. And I have, basically, set boundaries for everybody in my like extended family. Because
Yeah, there's a
It's not-
reason too. Everyone think like God just doesn't set rules just because he wants to boss us around. He does it because he really cares about us. He knows what will complaining do to our hearts? Nothing good.
it hurts us, sucks the life out of us.
It's good. And so there's a difference of complaining and there's a difference of saying, I need to process and talk to someone about a problem. Like when we mentor you guys, that's not complaining. That's us really saying, what's going on in your life and a safe environment for you to talk about that. And then for you, then, well, what does God have to say about this? What do you think your next step is? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's complaining where they just gonna complain. And
There's
they
a
don't-
difference between complaining and explaining.
What's going on in your life?
Right.
Exactly. So let's clarify that. And then I can't remember the other point I wanted. Do we have internet where we can play the real video? Hallelujah.
Had a few minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe premature.
And talking about scripture, there's one, I always I would used to write down my favorite things that I would see in there just to say later. And one of them was, it's better to live on the rooftop than in the house with a quarrelsome woman.
Oh, my goodness.
I was like.
I thought it was a.
So I want you to watch this video and we're gonna talk about it when you're done. So
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Maybe we will, maybe we will.
Complaining on the roof. I'll go somewhere
Yeah, we
else.
know what this is.
I used to be able to get out and sell them, I can't do the stairs no more.
Oh, yeah.
Go out and come back in.
We're gonna have to shift.
Remember we said we have to go out and come back in.
Internet again.
So are we skipping it?
Just give me a second.
Tracy.
I can connect to the internet.
Yeah, I've got no internet here.
How can Rob have it? That's not.
He doesn't.
You sit- oh,
Tracy.
There's literally no
You have to hold
speed.
your tongue right. That's like a spider.
I can tell you the website.
He's on the
On the
internet.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I only got one bar on the phone, because let's be using that one.
Yeah, I got nothing on the
You have the
Wi-Fi.
same code,
Yes, ma'am.
helping me out here.
I can't get it to work.
Ron, can we run it from your phone? You hook up to his phone.
Okay, my phone, Dave.
Can you get somebody to take you?
Of course it is.
You lost power. Yeah. So if you fill out the form, you tell them where it's
Down in the valley.
Then you can write it.
How many of you seen this before? Have you ever seen it?
Slap, slap.
Yeah, I've seen the slab, but not this version.
It's actually a good FNR.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Stimulus and response. Yeah. It's a really good example in real life. Did you go out?
Maybe we can act it out, like.
So who remembers what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it gonna plunge?
Go on.
I
If it gets
don't
worse.
wanna do that if it's gonna play. But does anybody remember?
Yes.
So who wants to tell the story from your memory?
Steve, sounds like you got a good memory of it.
Yeah, Chris was, talking to the audience and he made a joke about, Will Smith's wife's, hair loss. Didn't refer to it as hair loss, it was, she was, removed her hair for, a role she was playing. And, actually she's suffering from a disease that she's losing her hair. So Will Smith took offense to that and said, keep, his wife's name out of your mouth. And then he made another comment, Chris made another comment.
How about G.I. Jane?
Yeah, that's a movie that's, she was, had to cut her hair off for the role. And, then Will Smith stood up and slapped him.
It's more of a slap.
Yeah, walked up on stage.
Walked on the stage.
Yeah,
From
it was pretty, so here's what I want to say. The point I want to make after I watched this and I paid attention to how everything really played out. And I'm someone like you, Don, I'm very observant. And I don't miss a lot of details. So I was watching the whole audience when this happened. So let's talk about Will Smith's outburst. If you notice, everybody seemed to be in shock. And then moments later, when Will Smith sat back down in front of the front row seat, in anger, he shouted, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," screaming, okay? Today, so many people are saying Will not only chose violence because of his wife's reaction to the joke, he was laughing.
Yeah, before,
He laughed at the joke. Let's face it, he was supposed to make jokes. They were actually friends, but prior to this anyway. But anyway, she turned and saw her husband laughing and she gave him an evil glare that would kill. So she gave him that look. And my granddaughter says she's learning it. What do we call it? I got that look. I don't have to say a word, but I can look at you and know,
If looks can kill.
That's the look. But she gave him one of those looks. And so anyway, until she got that glare. Then later, while accepting the Oscar, Will said, "Love makes you do crazy things. Love makes you do crazy things." No, Will, it does not. Anger makes you do crazy things. Jealousy, greed, bitterness, and mental health issues all contribute to that. But love is peace. Love is patience and self-control. It never comes with violence. Later that evening, during a commercial break, Smith shared what Denzel Washington told him. "Be careful," Denzel told him, "at your highest moment," which was Will's highest moment, "that's when the devil comes for you."
Yeah.
He said that to him. Smith ended up winning the best actor for King Richard. But how do you think he's gonna be remembered? That's how everyone is gonna remember him. And that's.
I didn't even remember that he won.
Exactly. Exactly, that's so sad, he gave his power away, the S and the R. He didn't instead, shoot up prayers and say, if I wanna punch him, but should I? I should, in front of everybody on national television. Was it worth it? Was it? In a moment of anger, he gave away his power and he totally loses it. And it will be forever known for punching Chris Rock in the face, not winning an Oscar. Evident with what you shared. So my question for all of you is, where do you think in your life are you giving your power away instead of leaning on God's power? I shared some of mine where my daughter, I thought was operating in my own power. And I needed to depend on God's, and look how it turned out totally different when I sought his power. So where in your life could you be giving your power away?
Being quiet, not offering my thoughts or opinions. Maybe of, 3.
Me not speaking up when you should.
Not, yeah.
But that is
Causes so much dissension. And then it's a huge rigmarole. And then you gotta listen to all the bickering and stuff that comes after it. It drains me to the point where I can't even, I just.
But back to Debbie
Died on.
was sharing that she admits that that's where she's given her power away, not speaking up when she needs to.
But it's kind of funny now, when I try and speak up, people shut me up. But that's within my childhood growing up. And that's why the love language, is difficult for me, because I was always told how to feel, what to say. You're naive. Well, you have an older brother and a sister with mouths, hollering and cussing and carrying on. And my mother waitressed and wasn't home at night, and so here we are. I'm learning slowly, but it's hard.
But that's huge. That's growth for you. That's a huge step for you. I'm proud of you, just recognizing that.
Yeah.
We all have to learn, right? Anyone else like to share where you're giving your power away, probably?
I was,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not anymore, but my daughter, lived with me because the kids, like, some things happened in her addiction. And she tried to commit suicide, left my eldest granddaughter, which the other one wasn't here yet, in the crib and left. She left her there. My grandmother came in and found her, and she's called me, and of course the police were called because nobody knows where she's at. And she went to a church down the street and took a bunch of pills and tried to go to sleep in a cemetery. But anyway, so I ended up getting my eldest granddaughter through DSS.
Right.
So I got guardianship of her, but I didn't want to sever the relationship because guess why? Because I was abandoned by my mother. I grew up without my mother. So I did not want to sever the relationship between my daughter and my granddaughter. And so I let my daughter live in my house. I let her live in my house. And she tried to take over my house. Like, little things like, this is my house. And I let her do that for years. Let her do it.
You gave your power away.
Right, so I gave her my power. But then, I prayed and I was like, Lord, I've had enough of this. I went to pastors and pastors and pastors and to talk about how she's driving me crazy, and like she literally was. I was going loopy. But anyway, I just broke down at the altar, and I asked the Lord, you gotta help me here. You gotta do something. And so I started setting boundaries. And now 5 years later, my daughter's saved. She's got her own place. my grandkids still live with me, but the oldest one, because she loves her Nina. She grew up with me. That's all she knows. So the oldest one still lives with me. The other one's back and forth between mine and her mom's. And my daughter's working a steady job. She's off of drugs. She's clean. And so the Lord really does things through things, but you know, sometimes we gotta stand up to stop.
Well, he's not gonna
Give
give
it
it
away our
for
power.
you, right?
Right,
And so you stopped giving away your power and invited God's power into it,
right.
which is why you are where you are today, which is huge. So thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful example of what that can look like. Anyone else like to share a place where they're giving their power away?
Well, I always overreact around my stepdad, especially, and like my mom comes out to visit for a week and she comes out to see me once a year. And then my stepdad, he always says something that's very insensitive. And then I overreact instead of like doing the whole, yeah, but it's not something that I can really too much work on with that now because he's not here. It's just whenever he's up here that
But that's the thing you'll have to, if you ever do have interaction with him, you know what to do, right? You know.
but I also feel like I can't say anything because, well, my mom, she has always made it clear that she's gonna side with her husband no matter what. Cause like he left a mark on my son and my mom sided with him about it. And when he was just a little boy, and so I feel like sometimes something needs to be said to him because he's disrespectful toward my husband.
But
Or
that's
he's
probably, or when we get into it, we're gonna be moving into boundaries. That's gonna be an area, a big area.
And I need to find the right way to say it, the right words to say it without making a strain on my mom, because I value whenever she does come out for her 1 week. And I want that to be good, but there's always something that,
It may be that only she can come if you can't, you know what I mean? And that's something you're gonna have to pray about and think about. And we're gonna have boundary homework that you can just make that decision, right? So I wanna say there is a way for us to take back our power, and Angela hit right on it as well. And this is if you're a believer. God gives each of us the Holy Spirit to empower us. The Holy Spirit lives inside of us. And that's what enabled me to be able to talk to my daughter calmly when she was downright disrespectful, mean-spirited, hateful to me. Right? It was the Holy Spirit that enabled me to talk to her in love and calmly. And it changed everything permanently. My daughter's never done that again. One time. And no matter how many times I tried in my own strength, it didn't work. No matter what I said, didn't work. So that's one way. And Paul tells us this way, and it's in 2 Corinthians, we take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ. And I love the message. This is the message. It's 3-6. Just listen to this. It's a dog eat dog out there. The world doesn't fight fair. But we don't live or fight our battles that way. Never have and never will. The tools of our trade aren't for marketing or manipulation, but they are for demolishing that entire massively corrupt culture. We use our powerful God tools for smashing warped philosophies, tearing down barriers erected against the truth of God, fitting every loose thought and emotion and impulse into the structure of life shaped by Christ. Our tools are ready at hand for clearing the ground of every obstruction and building lives of obedience into maturity. So what are the thoughts that you need to take captive that will change your life? All these thoughts that run through our minds, thoughts that we talked about before that can be from the devil, thoughts from our past, thoughts from the people are, not so good upbringing, thoughts that we believed. Take a hold of that thought and apply it to God's truth, and it will change your world. And so, again, I just want to, Stephen's going to be moving into talking about predators. So I just want to pray for us because today was kind of a hard discussion, but a good discussion. And I think it's opening up doors to see areas in your life where you're making, I mean, Debbie, that's a big thing for you to recognize that you can move forward on.
Yeah.
Right? This is good. This gives us hope that life can be different, that we can get ahead. And so I am gonna pray before Stephen takes over. You might want to let him know.
There's a limit as to where I'm gonna check out.
We're talking about you. I'm getting ready to pray because
I heard.
yeah.
I heard you.
All right. So Father, today it was hard and good and, you know, just talking about all these great things, our love languages. God, we need you because you are love. That's who you are. And who better for us to learn from and how to love each other is from you. So God, I pray that each and every one of these students would receive and feel your love today, that they would take your love with them everywhere they go, God, that you would help them see places in their life where they're giving away their power. And God, you would enlighten them, that you would give them the words to have conversations, God. We're going to be talking about boundaries coming up soon, and that is a scary place. So Lord, I pray that you would just be with them, that they would know that without a doubt that you are with them, you are for them, and you will never leave them. And you have an incredible plan for their lives. And so God, we're excited about what you are going to do in this classroom, this time with each and every one of these beautiful faces. And it's in your name, Jesus, I pray. Amen. Amen.
Dana, I love you. G.I. Jane too, can't wait to see it, all right? That was a nice one, okay. I'm out here. Oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Will Smith distracted. Wow, dude. It was a G.I. Jane jump. My first name. I'm going to, okay?
Out of control.
I never saw any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, in real, time, I never watched it.
That's anger,
That is,
but the root of anger is hurt,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's acting out, yeah.
Well, he was laughing and then he
He
looked
was
at him.
laughing, and then the
So
wife,
then she looked at him like, I'm gonna kill you.
Mhm.
Then he got up and did that.
and he felt.
So she did make him do that.
Well,
No, he did this on his own.
I know, but she gave him the look like.
Yeah.
Well, he knew this crap he was gonna catch later.
Well, he-
But-
I think I
Just
just
now.
because he laughed.
I think I would have just, let it go and caught my crap
I kept
later.
laughing.
I think some of it too is he felt guilt that he found it hurting and he realized that it was really.
well, he was laughing.
Hurting his wife to the core,
I think in that whole
Yeah.
Hollywood, stuff that there's whatever their world, they are used to things like roasts, and I hate roasts because they're just so mean, and that's what I think that they're just kind of maybe used to that, like.
Well, that is the environment, and they knew that, but apparently she didn't find it very humorous because she was probably still embarrassed by her hair loss and it hurt her and she didn't find it humorous, but just a real overreaction.
So, when you live in reaction, you give your power away. So, it goes all back to this S and the R that we've been talking about since day one, which we'll continue to talk about. Everything lies in the S and the R. Think about it. Then you experience what you gave your power to. What did he give his power to?
Hurt,
Hurt, anger,
Embarrassment.
embarrassment, fear from what he'd have to deal with later.
guilt.
What he didn't take into account was what he gave his power into, what he was gonna have to deal with afterwards. Public reaction, rejection, barred from attending for 10 years. And like Tracy said, Best Actor. Who remembers that? Nobody does.
I wanted to say the root of that is like, he didn't know, he was joking. Kind of like your thing, you was gonna think it's funny to tell her about Little Debbie, and it's almost like the joking, you even have to know how to joke with someone else with their love language, because it could actually offend them.
Okay, it could.
So the joking is what triggered all that.
Yeah. So we're gonna spend the rest of the day talking about predators. Take a break, we'll come back and start with that.
Oh, yeah. I need a break so bad.
Break me off, you so that. Not the knees. You do. Everything cracks up. You have to try to move.
Well, about a year and a half ago, my left leg, left knee started. Now, back in 95, I was hit on by a semi. And this knee was slammed into the co-steering column. My face, because I'm 5'2", instead of 5'8", I slammed into the steering column with my glasses, cut me open. Because I wear wire frame, and that's if you look real close, you can see the scar. And, a surgeon who did that on my face did a wonderful.
Yeah, you can't even tell her she pointed out, I didn't even know.
No, no.
Yeah.
Well, I can't hide my knees. They do. It didn't help that, I did a face plant the other day because of my son's dog.
Oh.
He was laying there just as peaceful as can be with our leash. We had him on leash because I got a female dog and he would not leave alone. So I had to hide, I don't know what I'm doing to the dog. He was asleep, I walked around and I went in the kitchen and got what I went to get. And when I came back out, he wasn't laying there anymore, he was awake and I tripped over him. I have a bruise from here to here. I hit my knee, but my knee seems to be fine. I hit my elbow, and my elbow seems to be fine. They just hurt. I mean, you know, and my husband's like, well, you knew he was there. I said, he was asleep.
First time the dog will lay there, he gets close and he jumps up and shook us all the time.
Yes, myself.
That's like,
I got a chihuahua that does that.
that's called more balls than anything else
Yeah.
in our lives.
I don't. My husband's convinced the chihuahua is trying to be just trying to. I think, how can you
Yeah.
work over something that size? You should just be able to.
I know at my house where I'm in the holler, I had to get a booster and hook the booster into my phone line in order to get internet.
Oh, yeah, I know. We got one at our house too.
They're just, being able to do things. And also I'm walking the outside of the news. I've been in nursing for 28 years. And so we moved from North Carolina to Virginia. And I never. I just go back. Oh, no, I pushed it down and I'll never marry the house. That's what I do. I never transferred. They only took my class, all the air out and, and so now. So I put it on the wall because of that, that's gonna be like a. I can't do that. And us just.
How was your weekend?
Being more productive than I was before. My class ran has a class to quit.
I got Shane.
Yeah.
Shane had it. Yeah, the little one, she's 9. She's a master manipulator.
I know
She
it.
went to Walmart, and it was under the pretense of going to get some school snack, for lunch. That had nothing to do with it. She wanted to get shoes. She wanted Crocs. And I found out Crocs first cost almost $50, $44.99. I bet I had a heart attack. And I told her that wasn't happening. Oh, she don't fit. I said, now you ain't getting nothing. I went out to the car and got the car. And I got nothing. Not a candy bar, not a soda, nothing.
I did not forget about you. I started, we started this class. And Gary started, talking about, the time management part. I went through my Facebook and deleted, blocked a whole lot of pages. And I guess that was one of them.
Okay.
But I searched for it and searched for it and searched, I found one like it, but it wasn't the right one, so I just.
Okay.
I looked for over, and I was like, what did I do? But anyway.
me.
Yeah, it's your fault, but it has helped me because I've not been on
That's my job.
Facebook. Nowhere near as much. I get on there and see what, everybody's posted, because I've got I moved here to get away from my family, like my dad's side. I was raised by, and they're just, it's narcissistic, terrible.
I tried.
But my mom's side lives down, also in North Carolina, on the other end of North Carolina, western North Carolina, where they had the flood.
So all females do not use the big restroom. It's clogged and it's overflowing.
Oh, the Mission Impossible one, where you have to walk around.
So we only have one small stall available today.
We can, there's only a handful of guys, we can just queue us up and use the men's room.
Yeah.
We went all out, we got a toilet.
So I think it needs more than a plunger.
I need one plunger.
Not sure it does.
Exactly.
But,
They
yeah, I
went
did
all out.
that, and I can't find it. I searched.
Well, they figure some of y'all might be getting old and you can't stand.
That's the problem. If I did, I could tell you.
This is a stimulus and
I even
response.
had my daughter come. I never even thought to look on YouTube. Cause I don't think it's real.
Family goes, I forgot to put that part on.
Yeah, it's,
I could do.
Oopsie.
Used to be one of my dad's favorites.
it's a lot like, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that on it?
Yeah, so.
There you go. Okay, now I know where you got it.
I'm hello for somebody to work on with us. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay. No filter, no filter.
No filter.
But at 97,
Yeah.
I expect.
And is he blaming?
Yeah, my aunts are all, they're all. One was into politics and one who was the.
Sometimes, yesterday, I don't know, yesterday really got me was, the video that they played with the time change. I didn't wanna get up. Yeah, I didn't want to stay there. It just, I don't know, it takes a while to get used to it, but the video they played about the time change, well, it's not that dramatic, but
And he was like,
it does seem different. Like, I was tired at church yesterday, it's like I couldn't get it together, in my head, and I have a lot of brain fog anyway because of the lupus, but
who is a politician.
it's hard. So, and the time change and
He says, don't give her a hard time.
Dawn was saying, my granddaughter, she's also got Asperger's and it must have her. So.
I forgot to set my clock correctly, so I was running late. And then.
That wasn't too bad.
I never worked here anyway.
I just converted, so I worked third shift most of my life.
Everything from a week back.
But I'm too old for it anymore. I'm telling you, when I get tired, it's
My
bad.
goodness. What a picture.
I think after my grandpa. Oh, no. You get to see my money. It is what it is. 4 AM because you were raised on a dairy farm. It's not crazy.
And trying to get something else.
So they're all looking at the rest.
Yeah.
Oh, now it makes sense.
This system, yeah, I think it's on video.
So what is it, what's the app?
I've got them somewhere. I mean, there's several, they're all competing with each other and some of them get better and better.
That's cool.
I don't think the animated picture like this will do lip sync.
Oh, okay, like the
They can
music.
talk,
Yeah,
you know, you
okay.
can animate the action.
Yeah,
They're not quite there yet.
yeah.
They'll be there.
That's cool. Thank you. Man, they've come a long way. You know, like Virginia Slims used to say, come a long way, baby. I ain't never smoked, thank God.
I know, it's a blessing.
I can't even smoke.
Me either.
It's joking.
It makes me feel
Got
bad.
asthma. Puts me to sleep anyway.
Or
just
if
makes
he sits
me
still, he sits still, he seems to get up and like. I'm like, you know, I'm a roller coaster man, I'll throw up every time.
Okay, so when I say predator, what's the first thing comes to your mind?
My ex-husband.
Schwarzenegger.
My ex-husband.
Your ex-husband, okay?
She's being honest.
Yeah. What comes to your mind when it says predator?
I think of things
that are
wild
animals.
Yeah, wild animal.
Wild
Kingdom.
Wild Kingdom,
The guy who followed me home from Kroger on a rainy night.
okay? What else?
Mhm.
Rapist,
Okay, rapist,
child sex traffickers.
okay?
Yeah, good examples.
What else?
So I had one that like took a bunch of money from me to fix my roof and never fixed my roof.
Okay, financial predator,
That's a good example.
what else?
But he
Identity theft.
That would be a predator?
probably really prey on your emotions. That was kind of.
A narcissist. that's a-
Because I was like trying to help him because of a thought friendship, and then I gave him the money so that he could have the money, and then he fixes my roof for me because he works in that industry, but it's emotional.
Yeah, emotions,
That's
has a lot
good,
to play.
that's a good example.
Anybody else?
Stalker.
Stalker, yeah,
Scammers.
gamer,
Yes,
yeah,
and it was getting terrible with that today.
yeah. What about family?
Definitely. That's a roller coaster.
Sometimes that can be the worst time.
Can be. Sometimes it's the people that's closest to us that are predators. Most reliable sign, most universal behavior of unscrupulous people is not directed, as one might imagine, at our fearfulness. It is an appeal to our sympathy,
Which is what you have
which
to
is just
do.
what you're talking about. I feel sorry for them. I want to help. You know, that's a typical con. I mean, before all predators, we used to call them con artists. Yeah, I mean, we go back many, many years, they weren't predators, they were con artists. So they're doing this thing to get you into a place, maybe it's a love thing, maybe it's a money thing. Maybe it's something completely different. So, I mean, somebody brought it up, when you think about predators, we think about, you know, the wild, lions. Predators in the wild, it's a way of life. It is the natural order. However, when it gets to humans, not so natural. We see predators when we do movies. That just brings it into the forefront of what we think about. And of course, the internet keeps going off. So
But
just
some of
give me a
them are
second.
like, they just blend into the mud and the seafloor, and they wait for you, and then they. And then they drive you in with their light, with those little lantern fish things or whatever, angler fish, and then they suck you.
Yeah, and this is, to me, this is the weirdest, creepiest one.
Oh, my God.
That's
Like
what I had
peeping
looking in
Tom.
my window at 3 o'clock in the morning. And
Things
it
like
was
that.
raining out. It pretty much looked like that at my kitchen door. Can I come in? I need to use the phone. I broke down.
No.
And I'm like, no, you can go up the hill 2, 3 doors. And there's some guys up there that live in a house. You can go up there and ask them.
Oh, my
And
God.
then he went in my basement and broke in.
Okay, all right, focus. So, how about, this was a clip from Wall Street years ago. Can't show it to you because we don't have internet that works. Michael Douglas, he operated as one of these guys who comes in, he buys companies. And then what he does is he breaks the company apart, sells the good parts of the company, and then gets rid of the rest of it.
And that's what my ex-son-in-law did, that was abusive to my daughter. That's the kind of person he was. That was his job.
So they come in, they find financially distressed companies that have assets, but they're losing money. So this type of company is either forced to either continue to do what it's been doing or shut down. People like these people that still exist today, it is a very big business. They come in, they buy the company not for the sake of what the company does, well, for the sake of what they can get out of it.
Not to help the company.
No,
Yeah,
It's
but
never-
dissolve it, rape it,
yeah,
sell everything.
break it apart.
Yeah.
Break it apart, sell the valuable, because they already have somebody lined up that's gonna pay more than what they're paying for this company. Just for the valuable parts. You discard all the rest, you put the rest into a bankruptcy, and then you're done.
Take advantage of their weakness.
One thing he says in this clip, he says, auto dealer, you buy a car, you're making your payments.
Are you gonna play it now?
No, I don't have the internet. You're making the payments. Yes, I try to record this for the people who are not here. But the internet keeps cutting off on that too. So you're making your payments to them, they become your friend, you start getting these little applications, well, how would you like a credit line? We'll give you a credit line. Yeah, how about a credit card? We'll do that. Fine print of all the credit union loans is that when you sign up for that credit line, maybe $5,000, you got a $10,000 car that you got a loan on. Maybe you got a credit card, a couple $1,000s on that. There's a cross collateralization clause. That's part of your agreement. Now, what does that mean? It means when you give me this loan and I've got a car loan, I agree to cross collateralize this car to everything that I have. So that $7,000 credit line, equity line, whatever it is now a lien on your car. That credit card is now a lien on your car.
Now it's secured.
Now it's all secured. So you think you're gonna pay off your car title and you're gonna get your title and go buy another car? Probably not gonna happen. Because they've got a lien on that car, even after you pay off the car loan. Oh, you don't pay the equity line, you don't pay the credit line? I'm sorry, we got a lien on your car, we're not gonna give you the title back. So. It's all there, it's all in plain sight. They're telling you all this, they're giving you the information, but who reads anything these days?
All the fine print.
All the fine print. And even if you did read it, would you understand it? That's the other
No.
question. Would you understand it?
No.
I mean, who's ever heard of cross collateralization? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know amateur
They
relation.
want my credit card? Now they have a lien on my car? That's not
Yeah.
fair.
They did that to my husband. Last year. And he had an excellent credit score, not to mention what it does to your credit.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's a predator.
Yeah.
They're
They
taking,
also
they're taking
don't work
advantage
with
of you
debt
because of your
forgiveness.
relationship with them.
We trust
You
them.
trust them. Okay, so we're building in that trust. And it's like, come on, let me show you something new, because they're here to make, listen, honestly, they may be your best friend right now, but you miss a payment,
And they will definitely not be your best friend.
they will come and take your car,
And you
They-
didn't even know they had a lien on it.
and they will sue you. They're not your friend.
So if you miss a payment or you default on your credit card.
Yes.
They can repossess your car.
Yes,
Even if you paid your car off
yes,
and your credit score drops
yes,
tremendously.
yes.
Hello?
They have a lien.
That's terrible.
You gave them a lien on that vehicle for that credit card. Now, they can go
But
get,
you didn't know
they can go get a judgment on you. They can garnish your wages. They can levy on your bank account. Oh, but wait, I have social security. You can't touch that. True, but they still levy on your bank account. They can still stick that in a hold for 90-day time period while you prove to the courts
Then-
that they can, that it's exempt.
Yep.
But you're not gonna get anything happen because it's still gonna freeze your account as soon as that judgment hits. Trust me, they're not your friend.
Gee.
But there is nobody out there. If you haven't figured this out already, there is nobody out there that is going to lend money that is ultimately your friend. There is no car dealership out there that is doing you a favor. They're not. It's all dump and switch and move forward. You're a number. And as soon as we realize that we are just a cog in the wheel of what they want to accomplish and what we want to accomplish, we have to figure out what is the best options. Because we know that they're going to try to take advantage of us. All right, the question is, how close can I get to where I'm not being taken too much advantage of? The problem with society is we want what we want and we want it now. Okay, why? Because we can do that. It's easy. We give you credit for it. You don't have a problem. There's this clip right here. Wish I could show it to you. Tracy and I went to a movie earlier last year, maybe sometime last year. It's called The Beekeeper. It was
Good movie.
yeah,
Jason Statham.
yes. And he is actually a beekeeper. He stayed on this property of this older lady. She managed and had money in an account. And they sent her this notification that your device has been compromised. You need to call this number. And so she calls the number, said, well, you need to put your information in here so we can fix all of this.
She wasn't tech savvy.
Yeah.
So they knew it.
And she did it in the middle of a motion. She even says, well, maybe I should call my bank and check with them. And he said, you can do that, ma'am, if you want to, but I can't guarantee that you're not gonna lose everything on your computer. What she was worried about was losing the photos of her grandchildren.
Well, that and the $500 that he overpaid her. She
Yeah.
didn't want him to lose his job.
Mhm.
Sob story.
Yeah. She had
Emotions.
several $1 million in the account.
I had somebody try to do that
Yeah.
with the computer,
Yeah.
but since I build computers and I work on software on computers, it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I said, I'll tell you what, I'm sure I can get this taken care of. I appreciate you letting me know,
Mhm.
and hung up.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you, Kay. You go, girl.
Huh?
I didn't know that about you. You Good God.
Can you work on her?
I started off because of my ex-husband. He bought a computer. And when we got it home and got it set up, it didn't work. So we took it back to the place that we bought it from.
Hold on, Kay, we got this video.
You know, I think I should hold the bank.
You know what? You're probably right, but there goes my job. And there goes all your data.
Insurance. Computer.
Hello? Hello, you still there?
Oh.
Uh-uh. Oh.
You haven't seen it, it's an awesome movie.
That poor woman ends up taking her life over that.
Well, fortunately for me, I didn't have anything for them to take.
Yeah.
I got a loan from them. When I went to get this car, I had 0 credit. Not bad credit. My ex-husband destroyed that on his way out. We finally, me and my present husband got it so that we were down to 0. We owed 0 to anybody.
No.
And the first thing the loan place did was contact me after we got our loan, asking if I wanted to join something or other that costs money and you'll get money back. And I said, we got a payment. We know fits in our bills. And until it's paid off, we're not doing anything else. And it's very easy for these people to get on the computer and get a hold of your stuff.
Yeah.
I highly recommend Norton,
Yes,
McAfee,
yes. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Antivirus software.
Yeah.
antivirus software.
But yeah, this is real and I get these emails and stuff all the time now. I've got the stuff, your computer's been compromised. And they want me to do what she did,
Yep.
right? So it's out there. You need to be aware of it. They're predators.
And now they're trying to do it through text messages.
Now they
Yeah.
do it through text messages.
Now it's a, toll booth thing.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
when to
yeah.
say your package cannot be delivered from the USPS.
Yeah.
I've gotten that.
This
one.
I've
link.
gotten several ones. They're-
I had the one
Ignore
the other day,
Yeah, I do.
told me I needed
Don't
to
click
pay
the
my
links.
USDA mortgage loan.
I'm pretty.
And then if I didn't pay the $5 right away and blah, blah, I said, well, I'm not paying you any money. I'll call and pay the way I normally pay.
So you just need to be
Yeah.
aware.
I have
of
one
all of
similar
the
to
stuff
that.
out there.
There was some fee that didn't get paid.
They operate on fear.
Yeah, it's all, once again, let's go back to the SNR. It's all intended to get you to act out of your emotion.
Which is fear.
Yeah, there's emails going around, I heard the other day, there's emails going around right now where it basically is telling the people that we know what you've been doing. We've had access to your camera on your computer. We're going to publish this to all of your friends on Facebook and all of that if you don't pay this immediately.
I'd be like, go for it.
But,
I know, me too. I don't have.
but for some people,
That would scare them.
that would scare 'em. They're gonna hit people in every which way. Literally, you have to, more now than ever before, you have to be more vigilant.
I had one happen like what you said. And I said back, it took some message back in great big letters. I don't have a camera.
Don't even respond.
Yeah.
No, I know, but this was one of those.
Yeah,
You think you've got me,
if you
but you don't.
don't, here's the rule. I operate off of this rule. If you don't know who you're gonna text from, do not respond. Immediately hit delete and report as junk.
That's what I do.
All right? If you get an email and you don't know where it's from,
Don't open it.
don't open it. If you get an email from Apple, and you have Apple accounts, if you have any question about it, all you gotta do is click on the little Apple, from it, who it's from. And it won't be the right email address for Apple. It's simple things.
Yep. But they
Joanne,
do try and get you, like I've gotten one before, I had to ask him where it was a Norton that I didn't pay mine, you're gonna lose your coverage and I didn't pay my thing, and so I'm like, well, I don't pay it, and so I asked him, did you pay? He's like, that's a scam, I'm like, see, I didn't know.
yeah,
And they do it where it looks so much like
Yeah.
that. I've got some from Amazon
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I hate Walmart. I hate shopping. So everything, so I have Amazon and it looks exactly like
Amazon.
Amazon.
It does, they do a really good
You
job.
just need to go into your actual account
Count, yeah.
to see.
The safest way is if you have a question, pull out your credit card and call the company and ask them if this is happening.
Yep.
Do not ever accept a phone call.
Or go into your.
Yeah, or log into your account for any reason, from any email, for anything. I mean, we got this big problem in Virginia right now where all the SNAP benefits are being scammed off of the cards. It's a problem. All right, how's this happening? You've got to be vigilant. You've got to protect your stuff. People have already taken advantage, and they're finding more ways to take advantage of you because ultimately they don't care about you. It is all about, now I'm gonna play this Wall Street thing since we've got it. Cause this is the way society is made up.
The new law.
Well, maybe not.
You thought,
Oh, he's singing.
Evolution in corporate America seems to be survival of the unfittest. Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated. In the last 7 deals that I've been involved with, there were 2.5 million stockholders who have made a pre-tax profit of $12 billion. Thank you. I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar Paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
All about greed. This is how the world operates. So let's talk about predatory people. All right, they act as if the world owes them everything and they deserve special treatment. Scary. A predatory person will believe that they are better than others. Is that all right?
Narcissist.
Narcissists. Therefore, they think they should be served instead of seeking to serve others. Everyone only exists to serve their needs and desires. They run around doing whatever they want, when they want, and can pull off many of the crimes with their lives without any repercussions due to their ability to move stealthily among victims. This furthers their idea of entitlement because their victims are usually frightened or ashamed to stand up for themselves. That's the biggest thing. It keeps people from knowing that they're being scammed. They get scammed, they're ashamed.
That's the thing that told my daughter, we didn't know she was in an abusive marriage all those years.
Because she was ashamed.
And I asked her, why didn't you tell us? And she cried and she said, I was ashamed.
Yeah.
I was ashamed.
They make it be her fault.
Yes.
It's her fault.
Yes. They make them
It's her
believe
fault.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep telling you that it's your fault.
Yeah, it is.
And you start to believe it. It's like a mental thing
It is.
that
It's a
everything's your fault.
manipulation.
Yes.
They fake emotions. We talked about that. All right.
Yeah.
They Predatory people are masters of being able to fake emotions, including kindness and intimacy. They are chameleons in that they know positive emotions are important in relationships. They pretend to be whatever it is that they need in order to gain your trust. However, their heart is not in it. A predatory person will find a person's weakness and exploit them to their benefit. They may go out of the way to tell them secrets that they say is only for you to know, which makes them feel special and fosters a feeling of exclusivity. By the time the victim realizes that it is all for show, they are already trapped. They have been lured by kindness. Does that strike home for anybody?
Through abuse and control.
That person didn't just scam me. There's a lot of people suing him for work that was never done.
And
A
why?
lot of-
Because you were ashamed or it wasn't enough money to bring it to anybody's attention.
They count on that.
They count on that and they move from one person to the next to the next. Because nobody's gonna catch them. They feel stupid for, oh, I gave him money for doing something. I really should sue him, but it probably isn't worth my time. He probably didn't have any money anyhow.
And he always goes after his friends.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Those are not his friends.
Yeah, supposedly.
All right. Third trait, they must be in control. Abusive people thrive under only one circumstance when they have control over another. The predatory person will do anything to maintain complete autonomy over another person's decisions, thoughts, and interactions with others. They isolate the victim from family and friends. My kids are married to narcissists, especially my son. They isolate the victim from friends and family, leading them feel vulnerable. We were talking about that in the bathroom this morning as we were getting ready. It's just, you can see, if you look back, you can see the steps.
We can
Moving,
see it now, but then we didn't know it. Looking back, we can see.
it's all about control, manipulation, cut out outside sources so that they have control. It's scary. Surprisingly, many victims fall to repeat the cycle of abuse and search for new partners that have narcissistic and predatory traits. They believe that if they can get a terrible type of person to love them, it means that they are finally loving them.
It's like codependency. with
It is a
narcissists.
very big codependent.
Usually people like, they have a lot of empathy, they like to help people, that's who they play on.
Get the person.
Or I can fix this person, or I can help them. Be honest, my wife already told you, she can't fix me. I gotta fix, anything that's going on in my life, I gotta fix myself. And especially when you get older, at our age, anybody that you wanna fix, it doesn't know how. You're just gonna frustrate yourself and frustrate them at the same time.
And then it's a lie. It's almost like false responsibility, like it's your responsibility to fix them and it's not.
It's not your responsibility. You have, ultimately, you have to accept people for who they are. And then the question is, if you're get into a relationship, can you love somebody with all of the bumps and the warts and all of these other struggles? Can you accept them like they are?
But it doesn't mean people aren't capable of change.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. People can change, but they've got to do the changing. You can't do this. They gotta want to. Here we go. They cannot empathize. This is a big thing. A lack of empathy is a hallmark trait of a sociopath, psychopath, or narcissist. They try to show empathy, however, it's only to help them feel better, blend in better. Our ex-son-in-law is this way. He has no feelings, no emotion. And anytime he ever showed of any concern was in order to get his way or to manipulate something. He'd call us and tell us about our daughter and all the problems that she was having and the struggles and all this, and we need to do something for her. But in actuality, he's at home destroying her at the same time.
Because it sounds like he was hurt as a child, and so he just chose not to have any emotions.
Yeah, he's got
And he
no
can't
emotions.
express he went through something traumatic.
Well, that's what it is, and no one can really, like therapists and stuff, everyone's different, but it is supposedly developed in childhood.
The problem with him is you couldn't believe any story that he told.
Yes. He has his own,
So he has constructed his own
Reality.
worldview. I mean, here's how bad it is. He's always been one of these big talkers. I mean, he's gotta be, we always ask the question, how could you be the CEO
of a company.
of a company? I mean, makes good money and not have anything to show for it. So when we're going through this divorce, I'm thinking this guy's been doing this stuff for years. He's got to be well educated. He's got to do this. When we start looking at the finances and going back and digging into everything,
Cause he hid everything from her.
find out that he's got nothing. He has spent everything. He's a horrible manager. He talks about all this other stuff. Once again, these are the people that you gotta protect yourself against. If somebody comes in and says, hey, I can help you fix your credit.
The root of that is pride. They're able to admit what they see. I believe he sees what he knows.
Oh, he can't stand to see, he knows who he is, but he can't stand to see himself. So they create this false,
Right.
Yeah.
And exaggerate.
right? And because they can't stand to look at reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Like, we're far enough in, if you don't know already. I'm an attorney. Okay, I've been a practicing attorney for 40 years. He's like, okay, all right, what have I been doing? I've been doing bankruptcy practice for 40 years, most of those 40 years. And I have seen and observed every type of financial situation in those years. That's the reason why it's so important to teach you the things that I talk to my clients about. Because I am now, after 40 years, I am now seeing the second and third generations in the same family.
Wow.
Okay, why? Because they never learned the things that you're learning right here. They don't understand the way that the system works and why you constantly get put back into the same system of being under somebody else's control. They still make the same false decisions because they didn't learn from their parents and their parents didn't teach them and the schools don't teach you. So you're stuck with, how am I actually going to learn this stuff? Okay, 40 years of watching people make bad decisions over and over. Some people having filed bankruptcy 3 to 4 times in that time period. And you would think, okay, you would think people would learn, but they don't. Because they don't know any better.
That's why he has a heart to help me with this.
This
It's another way. he
This
can
is
help.
ultimately the reason why I wanted to do this in the first place. Now, I don't tell anybody I'm an attorney for at least
I
half.
really don't want y'all to know, but.
I don't, I don't,
In case we need you.
yeah. So the reason why I wait till we build this.
Somebody has to put that tile on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't have to go to work today.
So the reason I don't tell you is because I don't want you coming in here. You need to know me first before we step in. I actually tell you what I do for a living. Okay, because that, you will view me totally different if I come in the first day and I tell you I'm an attorney, I've been doing this, blah, 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 blah. All right, there's this air about what that goes along with that. As you can see, I'm a normal person. Probably. It's my normal. Give me a little bit. I operate at your level. Once you gotta understand, I care about you as people. Not because of what you did or what your background is or anything. I want you to accept me for the same reason. That makes sense? So I don't come in here from a first day and say, oh, this is what I do. It's like, no, I don't do that. That's not who I am. I'm one of these who will sit down and have a conversation. And let's figure out what's the problem, how do we fix this, and how we move forward. I think Don's the only one that knew. Anybody else know?
Unless Don told everybody.
I told Don the first day, I said, I know you know, don't you say anything.
It's Dawn anyway.
I do.
I told each and every one. They don't remember.
We hear you, Dawn.
That's sweet.
Oh, man, predatory people, they are personable, this is their most surprising trait to understand. And can be the hardest to swallow. Our idea of a predator is one that drives around in a creepy white van, tries to kidnap children, but in actuality, they can be quite normal on the outside, blend into society. They're often the life of the party, excellent conversationalists, fun to be around. It will not be until you spend significant time with this person that you start to realize their true motives. You ever get that person that's just too chummy, too friendly?
Yeah.
Freaky. And it's like, I always hold people out at a distance like that. It's like, yeah, you're just a little too chummy with me right here. I always operate under the feeling of they're out to get something or they want something.
Like a typical politician.
A typical politician. Can't even tell you what to
That's
think.
why
about
my
politicians.
Leo personality gets me in trouble because everybody
I mean, we
thinks I'm-
always assume the best of people, but we have to be careful,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so when someone comes on really quick and really strong, it's like those red flags of just be careful.
yeah.
Yeah, my husband knows how I am cause that stuff happened before we got together, but, he's like, when we moved here and we were making friends, he's like, they're just a little too friendly, I don't know what their intentions are.
Yeah.
Don't ask them for anything, I'm like, I didn't ask them for anything, they just dropped off stuff at our house. Like,
So
wow.
there's a reason why he feels that way though.
Yeah, he probably knows how.
Yeah, so that might be a conversation for y'all.
Yeah. Here's the worst part is predatory people act as the victim. This is how they garner the support. This is how they build into your emotions because they're always the victim. This is how they get in trouble. Oh, can you help me because I'm just having a hard time and I need this help and you do this or construction's kind of slow right now. Can you loan me this?
And
money?
every
I'll put a
time
roof
you're
on
around
it."
them, there's a sob story.
Oh,
His
every
mom
time.
was dying,
Uh-huh.
but she wasn't
Yeah.
dying, cause I found out somebody knew his mom was me.
I cannot tell you, in the past, there isn't a month that doesn't go by that I don't have a client that comes in and they have lost, if not tens of thousands, over $100,000 to a Facebook romance.
Yep,
Oh,
usually elderly women.
You can't even
And
feel.
elderly men, all right,
Really?
so they don't have the money. All right, so what they're doing is they're getting credit cards I had a lady come in the other day, she got a $30,000 loan on her house.
Who wants to be loved?
She wants to be loved. I've got another client, he's in his third bankruptcy. And we've had the same conversation 3 straight times, and every time, he still is waiting for this lady in Paris
Oh, my God.
to send him his money. And
The things we do for love.
we have sat down, I have had these conversations, I've had hard conversations. But they cannot get beyond that need or that desire. It's the phone calls, it's the messages on Facebook, it's the stories that they tell. They're really good at acting as the victim. It's always something. And one lady, she had to help this guy, he was selling coffee beans in Seattle and the coffee beans were in Colombia. I mean, when you tell me these stories, it's like, come on, people, it can't be this real.
See, that's what happened with my dad. After my mom passed,
Mm-hmm,
all the inheritance that she left my brother and I,
mm-hmm.
he spent it and I went to the bank. And he got mad at me. He's like, I'm not filing no thing. And I said, Daddy, these are scammers. Well, then.
Yeah.
The funny part about it, Lake Christian Ministries helped him stay in his home. They got community assistance and I was over the POA and stuff.
Yeah.
But he insisted all that back. And then there I am trying to keep him in his place. I got asked to move out of mine. I moved in with him out of fear.
Mhm.
Now he got upset. He's like, you're trying to control me. So now here's what I done. I took my dad's keys, his phone, and I said, I wanted to find out if I've broken the law here. And they said, well, you're the POA. In a way, you're not, but he went to the bank and had all that revoked. I'm not over any of because he sees it as control instead of me helping him. And I said, it's almost like a 2-year-old, Daddy. If you go out in the road, I'm gonna protect you. But he don't see it that way.
You can't protect them.
No.
You can't protect them.
And so that's what I had to let go of.
Yeah.
And just, and my brother's finally in agreement with me, like, well, let him hit rock bottom, but he lied. He lied to Lake Christian Ministries. He lied to me. I had to go get him a new phone. That was part of the agreement for them helping him.
Yeah.
Well, he got so mad. He wanted the phone back and it's all on gift cards. You can't trace the gift cards. But what I feel like the Lord revealed to me is these scammers are coming in from other countries.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have the infiltration of the demonic, I call it demonic, has came from other countries. And we need to pray and, that all that get exposed and those people be found out. But that's what the root of that is.
I would talk to my mom about something, and it has to do with what you said. I feel like we protect our identity so much in life, we try to protect our identity, and then the minute that we pass away and they print the obituary, they put everybody in your family, survivors, where you went to school, they put all of your whole life story in there. And that I think that gives them like information, oh, this person passed away, oh, they have a surviving wife, they have a surviving husband, they're gonna be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, I went to school with them, I went to that same school or whatever, like you just put all this out there.
Yeah, cause.
And
you
it
can
just
type
made-
now obituary.
That's a
and
good
see who
point. I
passed
never
away.
thought, see, I don't think like that, right? Most people.
But
don't.
I was never an attorney or anything, but my line of work, I dealt with a lot of people who had been scammed and different types of jobs. They would go through me and I would always hear what was going on, like a lot.
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
So that's why they were doing that. I had a lot of clients that were dealing with that had been scammed that way. And I think that's why the laws got changed. So now everything that everybody has got to go into for so long. I don't know how long it is, but it has to go in my,
Probate.
yeah, it goes into probate for a certain amount of time if they have anything.
You do know that social services has a thing for elderly that you can report abuse and neglect and all that?
They came to the house. I
Oh,
even went,
okay.
the police told
Yeah,
me.
they still won't ultimately.
I went
They're not
online,
gonna do
I went to the library and did what the police told me to do. I haven't got a call back from them yet.
Mm.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They got so many cases.
When I lived in Atlanta, it was, the big news was this lady got so deceived that she committed embezzlement for $400,000 of her own company to give it to someone's sob story in Estonia.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
wow.
shows you how
They're not even in.
What they'll
vulnerable they could
do,
be.
even, I mean, they go to jail for that.
Oh, they did. They went to jail for 15 years.
It's terrible.
I had a lady actually who filed a bankruptcy who did just that.
That's
Before the criminal trial. So we filed her in a bankruptcy. She had stolen $200,000 from her employer. Before she went to the criminal trial, she actually died. So she avoided that whole thing. Now, we don't know if it was suicide or what the case was. But clearly, I have got a lady that's in a nursing home right now. She's 85 years old. Her son, who is an invalid, who also needs help, took out $60,000 in credit cards in her name. They prosecuted him for fraud. But she's got a house that's free and clear. But she's got $60,000 worth of debt that she never took out, we never benefited from. So we're getting ready to fight all of those claims. So every day, you've got to protect yourself. You got to keep a look at your credit scores. You got to keep a look at your credit reports. We'll get to all of that stuff later, much later into this whole process. But you've got to start watching out over everything that you have, because there is always somebody, especially these days. It's not like it's not the pickpockets anymore that you got to worry about. Okay, it used to be the pickpockets and the con artists, but now everything's electronic, so they're going to keep on fighting. And AI, trust me, AI is going to have some great things, but it is going to be really, you're not going to know what's true and what's not.
You already see that on Facebook.
As if we don't already have enough problems in that area, AI without any controls is gonna just run rampant. We're literally gonna be confused as to what's real and what's not.
Can't tell the difference.
No, sometimes it's hard.
I had a customer when one of my jobs that I had was in banking, and it was all over the phone stuff. But somebody said that, I won't say all of it, he didn't say the details, but it was an inappropriate thing that he had going on online. And he said, I thought it was a real woman. And then he said that afterward, that this video was going to be circulated to everybody in his contact list, and he got sent, like, we know all these people in your, like, they know all of the contact information, and they'll all receive this video if you don't send us money.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't the right person for him to talk to, because, but he was trying to find out how can he get out of this fraud thing, and
Yeah, well, nothing you can do about it.
but
Once it goes on the internet, it's there forever.
And sometimes these people, they're so like entrapped in whatever story that they're being told.
Mhm.
I got a neighbor right now, and he's close to 70. And he is on Social Security and been sending, he got one of those scams that you've won so much money in a car.
Yeah.
Okay, and he believes it. And he's on the phone with these people every day, and they're actually talking to him, having conversations, but you can tell they're not here.
Yeah.
They're from, they're foreign. And he knows it's a scam, but he still sends them money. He's still believing.
It's an addiction.
We found that out. We had some elderly people, same problem. You'll even show them, and they want to believe it.
Yeah.
From the goodness of their heart. They want to believe it, even though you show them the proof, and we've had people in our life like that.
But they're addicted to the attention and the.
Yeah, I have a
It's
friend
an
at my
addiction.
church that asked me to talk to somebody because they said, you've been in overseas business. I said, yeah. They said, they're telling him he's gotta pay this much tax to get the money,
Yeah.
and he has to send it. I
Don't
said,
do it.
you don't have to pay any, if it's due you and it's supposed to come to you, you don't pay anything for a wire transfer. You don't, none of that, that's all
Don't
bullshit.
scam.
Yes, they're in pride, they don't want to admit.
All right,
they-
let's go back. That's another trait of a predatory person. They are never wrong. Does that resonate with you? They blame the victim for all their problems. They go to any length to avoid personal responsibility. They are unable to exist in a world that they have flaws or perceived sins. Goes back to this whole, they tell their own story in their head. So no matter what the reality of it is, they have constructed a whole different world. Someone brings up their poor actions, the predator will panic and create elaborate stories and explanations. They always have an excuse when they get caught. And it's all about manipulation and lies. It's all lies. It's all about manipulation and lies. They have a low self-worth.
Bottom line,
That's the bottom line.
insecure and low
Yeah.
self-worth. They create this.
Yeah, they're usually compensating for early childhood wound. Instead of grieving the healthy way, they make others pay for their sadness.
Cindy, that's what we brought up, childhood, remember?
Yeah, like I said.
This is also about unforgiveness and carrying all that stuff too, because that can actually tear it. They tear down the self-esteem of victims because they cannot handle someone being happy or comfortable in their own skin. They're ultimately just miserable people.
These are the ones that ruin birthday parties.
Yep.
Family get-togethers.
They always are creating drama
Yeah.
because it's all about them.
Drama's from
And
drama.
they want attention. Our daughter-in-law, she,
Daughter,
yeah,
Emily?
Emily. I'm not even a friend on Facebook with any of these people.
I am.
Tracy is. She tells me the stories and it's always, it's posting this or posting that, all to get attention.
And I think with her, she came from a family, like she was 8 or 9
Hey,
kids.
yeah,
And I think she was in the middle, and I really believe she just didn't get enough attention. And so now she just, anything for attention.
yeah. Hey, craves attention.
Counseling.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But my daddy's like that. So my daddy is not, he's not happy. Even if something happens in their life that had nothing to do with you are where their anger is,
They
because,
take it out on.
because you allow it,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But my daddy doesn't feel empowered unless he's moving you from here to here. I
Yeah,
mean, he's in,
Belittling you.
but yeah, he's got to like, just something you have nothing to do with, that's why I set boundaries with him. Because,
Again, he's insecure, so in
Yeah.
order for him to feel okay with himself, he needs to squish you,
right,
and that's what they do.
and that, but even if something happens that don't have anything to do with you, then they use you to make them feel better about
Because you
whatever
allow it.
happened in their life.
Because you allow it, right?
so we talked about con artists. I mean, here's where the con artists all come in now. I mean, modern day, it's all about using a relationship or the promise of a relationship to borrow money. This is happening on Facebook, Snapchat, dating sites, phishing emails. And it's all about love and leave. Love and leave. Think about that guy when he realized that they had taken all the money on the Beekeeper movie. And all these people are cheering around him. That is their conquest. That is their goal to take advantage of. This is how they're getting paid. It's all about scamming somebody. It's just a number.
Ruined her life, she took her life, and they're like celebrating a football win.
Right. They're
But-
lying
To think about that.
If you think people care, they don't. These people don't care. They're out to take advantage of you. Here's the scary one, caretaker deceiver. All right, so if you are elderly and you have somebody and your family's not around and somebody's coming in and taking care of you, I see this all the time. And all of a sudden, they're changing their will or giving stuff to the person who's taking care of them because family doesn't care. They're not around. Well, this person cares for me. Let me do that.
Tell them how you protected your own dad from
Oh,
this.
so my dad actually is dying. Probably, I think he's got kidney failure, he's got heart problems, he's got all this stuff. Then it's got maybe 4 to 6 months. He's 84, 83, 84, something like that. So he has property that my grandfather bought back in the 60s when he retired. He has 10 acres out in Campbell County. It's right off of a big subdivision. He's got neighbors that come over and cut his grass, and it's 10 acres of grass. So, I mean, there's a lot of grass there. They've been coming over, they've taken care of him. They're bringing him over food and all this other stuff.
Being nice to him.
They're being nice to him, but
Ulterior motive.
sometimes it's just a little too much. So anyway, one day anonymously, not anonymously. Everybody say that, anonymously. This is the way I eloquently speak.
It's a true story that is happening right now.
Yeah, so I get this letter in the mail at my office, unsigned, that are friends of a church that these people go to. And they said, we've we thought we would reach out to you because we have concerns. We hear these people at our church talking about your father, and it seems to me like they may be up to something as far as trying to figure a way to get the property from him. Well, you can imagine how I felt about that. Now, do I tell my dad? No, I mean, it's not beneficial at this point. This is probably a year ago, but I mean.
Just heard him.
It would
It would
just hurt
hurt
him, all right,
Yeah.
but how do I protect him at the same time? I said to my brothers and sister, I have two brothers and one sister. I said, I got a copy of this, but you need to read it, we need to have a Zoom call. That's my sisters in Cal, they're all over the place. So we had a Zoom call and so we plotted out a plan. Well, the first plan was, let's go ahead and get dad to deed the house into all of our names plus our spouses. So we gotta go ahead and transfer the title to the property. That was the first thing.
So
So
it's not even in his name.
he can't do anything with it to begin with. Next thing that we made sure was my sister usually helps him more than anybody because that's what girls do. So she's on all of his bank accounts. And I told her, I said, you need to keep an eye on these accounts. If anything more than $1,000 goes out of them at any point in time, then we need to know about it. So we didn't want to hurt him because I think they do genuinely care. And clearly, one of the neighbors, it's two neighbors. And one is the son of the other neighbor. So it's an elderly couple and then a younger couple, and they come over and bring him food 3 or 4 times a week. They're just right around the corner.
But for the church to say they're talking at church about this.
Is a concern
Big,
and
big
raises
red
all
flag.
kinds of red flags. All right, did I confront them? No, I'm aware now. And I was already concerned about this.
So they can't do anything. They don't know it.
Let him keep mowing his grass.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what am I, stupid?
10 acres, let him
That's an example of how we dealt with a situation.
Yeah, so it's like, it is not, my dad talks about them every time. If it wasn't for the neighbors, I don't know what I'd do. And yeah, and they're good to him. They really are. And they're company for him. Because his second wife died a couple years ago. So it's,
But anyway, I still think they're up to no good.
so, I mean, and he wants us to sell it to him when he dies. Well, that's fine. I'm not selling it to him because no,
Your dad.
my dad does.
Sell them. They want to get,
Yeah.
not without.
But we'll get a market value on the thing and we'll sell it. We'll sell it for fair value. If they won't pay it, then we'll sell it to somebody else.
So once again, they don't know this.
Yeah.
And John's not gonna tell them.
Thank you, John.
Even if I did.
Nobody will remember.
But is this not a good example to identify? You see something that's going on that could be a real big problem and you
Yeah.
have to move towards it.
Here's the worst part of it. Family class members. These are family members that come back and live in your home. And that actually you're taking care of them. You're financially making them able to stay there. You're enabling them to continue to stay there while they're still making jobs and you're struggling to put food on the table or keep a roof over your head.
What he's talking about is adult children living in a home, making money and not paying.
Their fair share.
In any way.
Or could be making money.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they refuse to get a job type of thing and they're capable of working.
I can't tell you the number of people I've talked to, we have the same conversation every time. So you've got adults and several children. Sometimes it's daughter and boyfriend and 3 children. And they're all living there and they just don't want to work. Well, it's like, and I talk to the clients because she's the one it's usually the person, it's usually the mother. And it's like, why are they not helping you? What's the reasoning for it? And there's always an excuse.
And this is where we're enabling.
So,
Or the
and
grandparents.
every answer that comes from these people is, I don't want to hurt my grandchildren. Every time.
And the kids know this.
And they know this, so.
It's manipulation.
They are literally taking advantage of manipulating, making money, doing whatever they want to, which is usually,
Sometimes the wine in bed all day, I'm
Yeah.
doing the dang thing.
you know, this lady I was telling you about that had $60,000 her son took out. He was living with her, because he couldn't live on his own. He could have, but he wasn't. She was taking care of everything for him. And what did he do all day? He sat there gaming. That's all he did. He'd get social security and spend all his money gaming and wouldn't give her any of it, so she was having to feed him.
Customer who was saying that her sister was in charge of her finances because she was a vulnerable adult. And she said, I don't feel like I trust my sister because their card, I think I saw it, that it came in the mail, but then I don't know what happened to the card. Is she, using my card? And there were all these charges to places, and she's like, my sister's using my card. And, yeah, anyway, her sister was running up a credit card that she had requested for her, and I think she said she didn't even request the card, the sister did it in her name.
Well, she can go to jail. for that.
Yeah, and I told her that,
And that's what they need to do. They
But they
need to
won't.
put them in jail.
But
But
because
they-
they're family.
Because they're family, they won't. And then it's gonna happen again.
So I mean, when we talk about boundaries, this is something that we could prevent if we set a boundary. If we had, look, I found out, if you do this again, I will report you to the police.
You gotta prove it, too. Who did it?
The
Like,
flood,
my heart
And
check.
herein lies the big problem. Everything is electronic these days, so you get an electronic signature. People are going on and using your signature, electronic signature. Nobody verifies anything anymore. The only way that you can verify it is by the IP address of the computers. In that language, in that computation, somewhere identifies who you are. But that's not necessarily true with a VPN. You throw a VPN in there, and then it all skews everything out of whack. So financial crimes will continue because there's no way to verify.
what about those people that say they'll pay cash for your house? Because I had somebody that,
They're
I
taking
didn't know the
advantage.
whole story about it. I only get pieces of the information with the job that I had, but, the older man, he was dealing with an attorney about it because he had given the people that were buying his house already the deed, and he didn't get any money.
Oh.
And I don't know if I think it might have been one of those people, because you're not
So
going.
here's what
through
they
the
do,
right
they try
channels.
and they're predators, so I get it all the time, we have property, land. And I get texts, I get letters, we'll give you whatever amount of money. But what they're doing is they prey on people that are struggling and need money. And so they'll let their property go for so cheap a price, it's ridiculous.
And then allow them to live in the property for a certain time period.
They don't default for that.
Well, a reverse mortgage is a completely, totally different thing. What we're talking about are predators.
That
Right.
contact you and they
You-
say,
you'll
we'll
see the-
play
you see-
closing costs, we'll do
You
all
see the
this
signs everywhere. It's on the corners. It's like we buy houses for cash.
cash.
Yeah.
They're not gonna pay it what it's worth.
These are not your friends. They are here to flip it, sell it, and make money.
And that's what they do.
They're not gonna pay your fair value. They're not gonna do anything to help you. They may promise you that you can continue to live in there, but ultimately, after the deed's transferred, they kick you out,
They do.
give you 30 days notice, and you're out, because it's not your house any longer.
So we pay cash, run.
and there's something that's going on with, houses now. Because like I had a client, my last client, and passed away. And then when the family goes, to do everything, they find out that he don't even own the house.
Oh, my Lord.
Somebody's done something somewhere and
Could have been something like that.
got the title swapped over.
No, if there's fraud, it can be undone. The proving fraud is the question. right now, they've got a big issue in Florida over properties being sold and they've not, by owners that don't even own the properties.
Yeah.
There's a real big problem with that.
Well, they had all that abandonment after the hurricane and people just walked away.
Mhm.
You didn't want to deal with it. And now they've got all those properties that people are just picking them up and.
What I've learned is, you know how people will use their homes as,
Airbnb.
Airbnb. Come out underneath of them.
Yeah.
Scam too. Isn't that terrible? And because the people don't live there, they have no idea, because it's a B&B. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I've heard in California, it was a B and B and they moved in for a week and in California, I couldn't get them out of there.
Yeah, California, it's like a whole different.
You know, they squatted on the
Crazy.
B and B and they were just like, they're there for 8 months, 10 months, 2 years.
Well, even around here, it's hard if somebody gets in in the fall, you can't get them out till spring.
Why?
Because
The
if
winter.
they have kids,
Don't matter,
Not in Virginia.
not Virginia.
since when? Cause my
Since-
neighbor just went through it and they wouldn't let her throw them out. They've been in there now 7 months, not paid a
There's more
dime.
to it than that. I
Yeah,
guarantee
there's
you.
procedures.
I know in COVID they couldn't, but you know, they could sell it.
Yeah.
So
Cause I
some of
took
the-
her down. to
Some of the reason we
social
have no
services
rental
and told her that
property
she
around
should be able
here
to
is
get rid of
because you could sell your property, but you couldn't kick people out
Yep.
for COVID.
Yep.
So we lost a lot of rentals because they sold them.
Yeah.
So,
And my neighbor she got a 5-day notice, and she's got 2 kids and one of them's autistic. She got 5 days, you know, or they're gonna
Start the eviction.
start the eviction process.
There is a
I'm gonna
process.
take her
they
back
have
to
do.
social
Yeah,
services again.
there is a process that you have to go through in order to kick somebody out. And first is the 5-day pay or quit notice. After that, then you just go and you file the unlawful detainer in the state court. I mean, the unlawful detainer, you go to court within 30 to 45 days. They haven't paid the rent, you can't come out.
And the police will come
And that's assuming that you have a lease. So if you don't have a lease, or if you had a lease and it just rolled over and then it goes from month to month, 30 days notice is all you have to be given, and you're out. There's no questions. Nobody cares if you've been there 20 years. So we're seeing that a lot, is that people are getting kicked out because they've been on these, they've been in these properties forever. I got a lady who's been there for 20 years. The guy just gave her the notice. Can't do anything to help her. She doesn't have a lease.
She could have bought a house for 20.
So you know what happens is, because they can rent it for 4 times the amount that these people are paying. They don't feel comfortable asking. They know these people couldn't pay it to begin with. But why not? In this market, once again, we go back to greed. It's all about greed. How much more money can I get out of people? But at the same time, let's be honest, it is their money. They have a right to be reasonable. Now, taking advantage of somebody in the middle of that is quite one thing. But maybe they shouldn't have allowed this person to stay in there at this pace for all those years at that lower rent.
And with landlords, my understanding, they're supposed to give you everything in writing before they do any act. It needs to be, they just can't verbally tell you.
Well, they give you an eviction notice.
You talking about that? You talking about
No.
making you?
Like
Well,
for a lease.
For anything, it's supposed to be in writing. That's their job.
Well, why?
everybody does.
Yeah,
Right.
well, there's no requirement of
Why?
everything being in
Because
writing.
they-
The only reason why you put it in writing is so you can go to court and prove that you gave the notice.
But that's what they're supposed to do as a landlord.
There's no law.
But they don't uphold their end, and then the renter gets.
There's no law on that. And not unless it's under the lease itself that says we'll give you written notice of this or that. Now, in order to get an eviction, you have to give a 5-day pay or quit notice. It has to be in writing. Can't just call them up and say, hey, you got 5 days to
So
get out.
if they don't have a lease,
If they don't have a lease, then it's basically your word against theirs. All right, let's think about this. You go to court, it's my word against yours. You're not paying rent. Who do you think the judge is gonna believe?
the owner of the house
Exactly.
that owns it,
Exactly. Who
they're
could
not
probably-
even
who could
relatives.
probably afford an attorney and all these other things, and That's just the way, the way the system
It's
is.
probably easier just to call the police when they have a fight and get them thrown out. And once they're out, they can't
Yeah,
come
why,
back
why
in.
not? Why wouldn't we?
That would be my thing.
All right, so
The real predators.
the real predators, the real predators that they're out there every day. And, you know, I wish I could show, the video doesn't work, but it's one of those commercials. You see it around Christmas every time. Get your title back with Title Max. How does that make any sense at all? All right, so they're gonna loan you money on your car title at an exorbitant interest rate to get you through Christmas. And they do an ad that says, get your title back with Title Max? How does that make any sense? You're never gonna be able to pay the loan off. Back in the day, there used to be more payday loans. They basically have gone out of Virginia right now. But when they were at their heyday, they were getting 30%. I'm sorry, 300% interest.
Wow. 300.
300.
Yes, all right, you can go online and you can get these types of loans and they will run anywhere from, I've seen them as low as 300 up to 1,000%. Many of them are Indian reservations.
Yeah.
They're all exempt.
That's true.
They're all crooks. They are there to take advantage of you because you are desperate and you need money.
They wouldn't give me a car. I went to JB Battle.
Oh, JD Bow
I'm gonna take me a picture of this and I'm gonna send it to that man that just sent me a letter from there. And I'm gonna say, what?
JB Bowrider's out in Lynchburg, but they're still in Roanoke.
Yeah, I went to Roanoke.
Biggest bunch of crooks there are.
Well, I need to know that.
They will sell you a $5,000 car for $15,000 to $20,000.
They said I didn't have enough money, insignificant funds.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't.
I get Landmark all the
Well,
time.
you're lucky, you were the lucky one.
Yeah.
Cause I looked them up one time, and someone had, you go online and you look at the complaint,
Mhm.
and they're all said, I had a car for 3 months and it fell apart.
Yeah,
And then you
Thank God.
you look under their franchise, they sell franchises.
Yeah.
They said, guess what? By the second year, we can make you $700,000 in
Oh, yeah.
profit
absolutely.
every year.
If you can live with yourself,
Yeah.
if you can live with yourself, then that's the way you should
Yeah.
do it. It's not much.
They're boasting about how much.
Davy Byrider is not much better than these buy here, pay here. They're all a bunch of crooks. All right. Avoid these places. If at all options, you should avoid these places because they have put very little money. They are just trying to get that car off the lot. They're not making any warranties to it, and it probably won't last a year. But you know what? They ain't gonna take the car back. You're gonna still owe them money, and they will sue you because they don't care about the money. I mean, they don't care about the car.
Yeah.
They care only about the money. Schulz, all right. Schulz has always been a favorite of mine. Schulz sells cheap furniture.
They do.
They sell cheap furniture. All right. It's all about the financing. It has never been about the furniture. It was a means to get a 24 to 30% interest rate return on their funds. The furniture's garbage. It will fall apart probably before you pay the loan on it. But why do they exist? Why are they thriving? Why do they have millions and millions of dollars? Why do they keep on opening branches? Same reason why these buy here, pay here places do, like Aaron's. Okay, there they are. Aaron's. Rent-to-owns. They are crooks.
Make a fortune on top of you.
They are crooks. You can buy a $500 washer dryer that you're gonna pay $2,000 for over time. Now, it's because it's a lease. It's not a purchase, so it's not subject to all the APR issues, all the interest rate issues.
They own it.
It's all built into it. So you can keep it for a week and then you don't pay it and they just come and take your stuff back.
Theirs.
And yeah, they'll sell it to your neighbor the next week.
He's
They-
a congressman in Georgia now. Latterville. And one of the biggest donors of UNC.
Yeah.
Never been to UNC.
Yeah. How many of you have ever rent to own something? You ever rent to own? Yeah. How was your experience?
Actually, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, how many that you overpaid for?
Majorly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what about you?
Did okay. We got what we wanted and we knew we couldn't have gotten it any other way. So that extra money was like, we can try and save this up for 5 years to get this, then I'll be out of date by then.
Right.
Or just go ahead and get it.
And pay the
And
weekly amount. And that's how they get you.
They prey on your
And
situation.
it's especially especially if it's one of those necessary things. Now, I got clients, okay, every client of mine has some type of payday loans. Every one of my clients has an Aaron's account or one of those rent to owns. Every one of them, everyone. Everyone has Landmark and One Main. They all do. You can look at a person's credit and you can tell when they start going downhill by the choices of places that they owe money to.
Yeah.
And when all of these exhaust, then they'll go online. And the online places will come in, they'll promise to consolidate your loans. Even better than that, we can do a debt consolidation for you.
No.
All right, based on what you can afford to pay, and you pay over a 3 to 5 year time period, and this will take care of all of this problems so you don't have to worry about it. Sounds great on TV. Here's what they don't tell you. All right, first off, they're not gonna pay any of your creditors for at least a year and a half. Because all this money that you're giving to them, is gonna go pay their fees up front.
Yeah.
So the money's gonna come in, they're gonna pay their own fees. They're gonna send a letter to every creditor that you've got. What they don't tell you is that a third of the creditors will not work with these places. But they're not gonna tell you, that's not part of the original amount, because they're gonna tell you an amount. Once again, bait and switch. As you go down the pathway a little bit and they start getting more responses from people, they're gonna come back and say, well, we need more money a month.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, so we're just beginning. All right, so now we're a year and a half in, all of a sudden you're getting sued because they haven't received any payments for a year and a half, and it's like, I thought they were taking care of it. Oh, no, well, we can't take care of all of them, we're taking care of these.
Gee.
So now I'm getting sued, they got a judgment against me, they're gonna garnish my wages. I'm still paying this place to take care of all my other debts. I hope they were taking care of this one too. And here's the, let's just add to the top of this. If I manage to continue to do this thing with this consolidation place, and they're gonna pay maybe 30 cents on the dollar. So I got a $10,000 loan that, let's say, SunTrust, I'm not trying, what is their name now? Truist. That Truist says, we'll take 3,000, we'll wipe it clean. All right, great for me, right? No,
Then you gotta pay taxes on the forgiveness.
you gotta pay taxes on the $7,000 that you didn't pay because now the government considers that income. So you get a 1099 from Truist for the amount that they forgave.
And nobody tells you any of this.
Oh, and you wait till these student loan people who got all this forgiveness for the student loans, there are states out here that actually will charge them a state tax because of the loan forgiveness. I can't remember how many states are out there, but there are states out there that these people are gonna get tax bills. So
So
student loan forgiveness.
if you go through a place like Credo Loan and they get all your stuff written off or whatever. is that-
Consolidation, please?
No, it's not that consolidation. They don't consolidate. They basically just write them letters and tell them they're charging you too much interest or something illegal or whatever bullshit they say. I don't know. But they said they're,
And you paid them for this?
no, I haven't, but they
Okay.
want me to.
Oh, yeah, they're lying to you.
And
They're all a bunch of
they
crooks.
said it's better than bankruptcy because it doesn't lower this, or I said, couldn't get much lower. I mean, it's already in the 500s.
You're not paying these bills anyhow, right?
No, not
They're
at the
just
moment,
gonna
I
try to
can't
clear,
afford it.
they're gonna clear up your credit report.
That's what, yeah.
So here's what they do. Alright, so I always love these companies.
Yeah.
I had a bankruptcy client one time, I asked him what he was doing. He fixed his credit reports. I thought, well, you did a crappy job for yourself, didn't you? Can't fix your own, why you gonna fix everybody else's? Here's what they do, no different than what you could do. If you dispute something on your credit report, you send the creditor a letter, they have 30 days in order to respond to the credit bureau because you're questioning this debt. You can just dispute it. This is what they're doing form letters, dispute. If they don't respond within 30 days, the credit reporting agency has an obligation to remove it. That's how you get it off your credit report. No different than what you could do.
I think you can charge this information.
You send them a letter. That's all you gotta do. So they're all crooks, they're liars, you just wanna steal your money. How much they want for you?
Oh, they
From-
said they could take care of everything that I owe, and I'd have to pay like $250. And I'm already paying 180, so I mean.
Why are you
for
paying
just
180?
two. For Discover and Amazon and,
Mhm.
you know.
They can't do what they're promising.
They can send the letters.
Hmm.
Maybe some of them will not respond and it comes off your credit. Not gonna happen.
And I told him, I said, well, I know that the credit union won't work with y'all. Oh, yeah, they will. Oh, yeah, they will. We can, I said, "No, I know that's bullshit. You know, but the thing is, you just said that even if it got wrote off, then I'd still have to pay the taxes like I
You're not paying taxes.
earned income, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you're better off not to not to pay any of them and save up some money and then
File
just.
bankruptcy.
Oh, okay.
There's no tax, there's no tax response when you file a bankruptcy.
And how long does that take
Well,
to
let's see.
get
Your
straightened
credit's
out?
already in the pot right
Right.
now, so it's probably below 500.
Yeah,
Okay, so you file a bankruptcy, your credit score within a year after you file a chapter 7 bankruptcy will usually go up between 100 to 150 points. So
do you know what
here's
year
what
ago
happens.
mine was? It's at 470,
Yeah.
no, 7.
Here's what happens. These credit cards are reporting on a monthly basis.
Mm.
All right, as long as they keep reporting, it's current credit. It keeps the score low. The more distance that you put from bad credit, the more your score goes up. So if they stop reporting here a year from now and they're not reporting anything, then that's given less weight. We'll get all to this in the credit reports. But ultimately, nobody's doing you any favors. They can't, you've seen these places on television, they talk about, we can settle your IRS debt for pennies on the dollar. Yeah, if you got 10,000 or more than $10,000 of the IRS debt, we can settle it for pennies on the dollar. Because we've got IRS professionals. They can't do anything that you can't do. It's an awful compromise.
Bottom line, if you owe the money, you can't do anything. You can't make debt disappear.
If you're destitute, you have no assets and you have very little income, the IRS may very well settle it, but you can fill out the form and you don't have to pay anybody to do that. You've got to go right to the IRS website, you can pull the form down and that takes care of it, but you gotta file your taxes first.
I don't make enough to file taxes.
So here, look at this. Baby, who is not a financial predator? All right. This is what we perceive not to be a financial predator. We talked about the credit unions. All right. Maybe not. Maybe they're gonna be more careful in loaning money out. Maybe they're not gonna be trying intentionally to hurt you because this is just their practice. But ultimately, you can put yourself in a position where they do take advantage of you. It's not their normal, it would not be their normal procedure. These banks are not out there as a rule to be a predator. Now, they will give you a loan, they will charge you interest rates. But if your credit's bad, they're, as a rule, are not gonna give you the loans. Why?
You know,
It's-
money.
It's because it's these people that charge you the 35 to 40% interest rates. The banks won't. All right, the banks have to do all this reporting. They don't need all this bad debt on their books. They're held to a whole different standard than these places are. Because they're FDIC banks. That makes sense?
They don't want a repo,
Yeah,
expensive,
yeah.
Yeah.
they're not set up for that.
And, you know, no different than Schultz. These places, they'll finance cars. They're gonna give you a lot more money than the car's worth. They're just trying to meet a minimal requirement. So if you've got a $3,000 car, they'll loan you 10,000. Once again, it's not about the car. They don't want it. They just want to hold that threat over your head that we're gonna come pick your car up, but ultimately, they don't want it. I can't get them to take the titles back and I want to surrender it. I tell my clients, hey, get it, because the vehicle ultimately won't run. You know what I tell my clients to do? I said, why don't we get a tow truck and then tow it over and sit it right in front of their building? Put the title on the windshield. There you go, here's your car. They don't want it. Many times, they'll just send me the titles and I give them to the client so they can jump them. It's not about the collateral. They're not doing you a favor. It's about the 35% interest rate that they're charging you.
Even when your car doesn't run or turned in, you still owe the money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that ultimately, it was never about the car. It is that means of holding something over your head. People go back to this whole fear
Control.
and control. All right, that's what it's all about. If I can take your car, the first thing I'm gonna do when you don't make a payment is I'm gonna threaten you, and I'm gonna come pick your car up. All right, what's that gonna have you do? You're gonna start making choices, so if I have to pay another bill, or I have to pay something else, I'm gonna make sure, because I need my car to get to work, or I need my car to get kids to school, or I need my car to get to the doctor's office. Control and manipulation. Whenever you give that, you give your power away. Whenever you give that title up, you're giving your control away. Because you're no longer in charge. You no longer have the final say so. And when you do that, then they become the financial predator and you're stuck. So I hope as we go through lots of things in this class, as far as the finance is concerned, that this will open your eyes to see the places that are out there. Pay attention to the ads that you see on television or the ads that pop up on billboards as you're driving by. These people are not your friends.
I was just thinking the stimuli itself is not a friend, it's a predator. Because it's based on your emotions.
And if you walk into every situation knowing this, then you'll be guarded. And you'll see the little ploys that they play in order to get your business in the first place. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do business with them, but at least make wise decisions as you're entering into these transactions. It's eyes wide open, folks. I need to be aware. Once I'm aware, then I can make a better decision. Okay?
Even Latifah said in one of her movies, there's always free cheese in a mousetrap. And I always told my customers that there's always free cheese in the mousetrap.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah, I like that one. So let me pray. God, thank you for today. Thank you for just the conversations that we get a chance to have, for God, the wisdom that you give us to be able to give to other people. I pray that so we walk out of here wiser. And we stop giving away our power in so many things, to friends, to neighbors, to family. God, I pray that your power just becomes stronger inside of us. Help us to look for you for that strength and that power that we desperately need. Be with every person here today. God, I pray that you bring them back on Wednesday. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
I don't think they can use my old card.
Oh.